you know that all of this area, it sucks, okay? Nobody likes it. Nobody likes going around here. You got a few snakes. It's not fun. It's not a good time. So what you can do two options, which is option number one, what Canina are going to be currently playing with, which is playing that ridge line because no one's going to be contesting them over on the eastern edge. They can just take a few shots, gather information. They're going to be super safe for the long run. But that's not the big play I want to talk about here for this telemonstration segment. It's going to be actually the position just south of Paradise Resort, which is going to be those little rocky terrain hills, and especially on this circle shift, what you see, you've got this big scuffle happening over here between Nexus and Unicorns of Love. That is a very bad circle, but still gets the point across. That Nexus, Unicorns of Love are going to be fighting for that position, and Canina Power, what they know is that if they want to have a position of advantage in this circle, they need to wait for the fight between Nexus and Unicorns of Love to end, which is currently unfolding. Boom, Unicorns of Love go for the push. The moment the fight ends, which surprisingly enough, Nexus win, but the moment that fight ends, Canina Power instantly go for the push-up as 3-man, get control of that high ground position out. All of this rocky terrain is under their control, and what this enables you to do is pretty much just get full information on where all of the other teams currently remain. So everyone that's going to be in this position in the circle is going to be spotted out, and you just cannot escape them. You can take easy shots thanks to that third-person perspective. So pretty much, this is something you can apply in your own games. If you are playing in this kind of terrain over on Sanhok, play these rocks. They're pretty good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for that, Max. And it does surprise me when you see these kind of moments around Paradise Resort where Unicorns of Love, for example, they're in Paradise Resort, and I do feel like there's some urgency about them resolving getting out of Paradise Resort fast towards the south to also potentially play that location. Because if you're stuck in Paradise Resort, what are you supposed to do, Max? It's death.
Yeah, I don't understand why teams stick to that position for so long. Unless the circle ends in Paradise Resort, then I'd understand. But in that case, we saw it didn't happen. And going to the rock south is a good play. I mean, Nexus had a good idea. Unfortunately, only 2 players could transition. I think that if Nexus send all 4 players on that little hilltop, I think it's a Nexus chicken dinner. But there's a really clean third party happening from Canina. They're able to sweep that chicken dinner away.
All right, well, thanks for that. Canina Power looking good in Sanhok. Let's take a look at them looking good here on the broadcast.
Onto the 10 chick, so he's gonna be chilling with the smokes for as long as he can. And these snakes can could just had one more dose, but the first gets him. Second one as well. Just before he falls, he takes down the 2 on the other side.
Hillstrat, got Team Doom doing a Hillstrat, Terminus of Shockwave doing a Hillstrat, and also a player from Major Pride Clan. Definitely things to keep in the back of your mind. Eastern Stars, last player Kapahala, just trying to make it.
Oh no! Now can't get him behind the bug. He didn't even see him, and now Sanghori, a lot of work to be done, and he succeeds.
The thing I was talking about, Toby, they're just waiting for the teams to be forced this way. This hardship is massive for Canina Power, so interesting to see.
Because Loca Nostra on a boat, the pirates out there, they're gonna be pulling up here very shortly. Oh, watch your angle.
Good stuff overall. Let's hope for them they bump up the leaderboards here and able to attain a higher position as time goes on. Now let's cast our minds to 2 teams that are continuing to impress, I think, here in Phase 2, Max, as well. ARR and Gamelord have been able to have a very respectable day yesterday, especially, I would say, leaning over towards ARR, who were able to clinch a victory here from Gamelord in one of the first games.
Yeah, on that first game with especially Elementrix and Tapok being a really strong duo. Said it during the interview. Tapok is pumped to be playing with Elementrix. They're just an absolutely amazing fragging duo on the side of ARR. And it seems like during the first phase, there was a lot of question marks, as you mentioned, because this team never really had this kind of experience playing in this PMPL. But now I feel like they're a lot more comfortable, willing to be aggressive. Tapok with an amazing spray down with that AK, and we were like, wait a minute, that was really good spray. Okay, surprising stuff coming out from Tapok, but they were willing to be hyper-aggressive, go for these pushes eventually, so I'm happy we're seeing that coming out from ARR. And Gamelord, when looking back at their previous seasons, I think they were a team that was very stuck in their own ways. Very aggressive team, but not very rotation-based. But now they're willing to make these big plays like we saw pushing on the side of Gladiators to get a really strong compound. Almost secured themselves the win, which was taken away by ARR. But it seemed like these 2 teams have significantly improved as the phase went on.
Yeah, absolutely. As you take a look at the final moments from that first game, and we move on a little bit further here. As you say, kind of that power duo almost for them with Tapok kind of leading the charge. Really does help them kind of a lot with Elementrix looking so good as well. I mean, I say Tapok leading the charge. Elementrix, what? He was the MVP yesterday, right? So
yeah.
It's very, very impressive stuff, the progression that we've seen from them so far here. And even getting to some of these final moments where they're kind of just being able to control some of these high ground scenarios against their opponents is very good. Similar to what we're seeing here from Gamelord as well, who played Potato Hill yesterday, were able to corral teams away from them and then be able to kind of just shut them down and then be able to seize that high ground away from everybody else. So I like what Gamelord's been to us today.
And I'm always happy because normally when you talk about Gamelord, the two names that come to mind almost instantly is going to be always Navallo, Victor. Robs has really been putting on a clinic throughout this second phase so far. So I'm stoked that we're seeing three big fraggers out there. Akashi still being the IGL. He's not supposed to be this big fragging powerhouse, but he is putting his team in good positions every time. So Robs is definitely popping off. But when we're looking at the top 5 players so far in this phase, Elementrix, especially because of what's been happening in yesterday's first game, not too surprised, he is currently leading the charge here.
It looks like a wax statue there, does Elementrix.
Oh, that jawline, it's been chiseled.
But yeah, I mean, a handsome boy, I guess, down all things said and done here. It's always good to see, we've mentioned it a few times actually, Kitsune also up here from top 5 players. It bears repeating that oftentimes when you have an IGL, they're usually not the guy that's going to be putting out big numbers, etc. and things like that. But Kitsune definitely stands out as one of the outliers for that kind of messaging that we normally send for that kind of role.
I'm actually surprised that we're seeing that survival time. It's not low by any stretch of the imagination, but normally you'd always see, like, at least for the top players, like a 22, 21 minute survival time. Here they're all around like 17, 18, 19 minutes. So seems like it's not just one team always making it to the late game. It brings back that sentiment that I brought up, I think, yesterday's pre-show, which is it seems like the entire lobby, at least for the top half of the teams, has leveled up significantly, where now it's just the competition is so much closer for these teams, and the top 3 might be completely different at the end of today, which I'm really loving to see.
It could quite easily be, considering how close it is up there. It is very down to the wire, and a lot of that today will rely on Sanhok results. So let's take a look at how things are going for these teams on Sanhok, because for the most part, it's still Mad Bulls being able to kind of run away with things, being the top performer on Sanhok. I believe they were top performer on Erangel as well. So, I mean, they're very likely, Max, to try and bump up towards that #1 spot today, considering they're not quite there. There are a few teams above them.
Yeah, I do expect that to be the case. I mean, they're still so good on Erangel and Sanox. And the thing is, we even saw it yesterday, Mad Bulls, even if they go out early in, like, I'm talking 10th, 11th, 12th position, they're still picking up like 6, 7, 8 elims, which is why Mad Bulls are so scary. With this new point system we had this year, it's just going to be bringing up so many extra points every single time. So they're still highly relevant, and we said it's so close towards the top. I wouldn't be surprised if Mad Bulls at the end of today, if they're feeling hot, if they're feeling good, to be the new first place team in this second phase.
Well, let's take a look at the overalls, and we can stick on this for a little bit longer than we normally do, because I'm hearing that we're a few minutes out from the game here, so bear with us, guys, whilst we take a look at the overall standings for this phase. Now, we mentioned it at the end of yesterday, Max. #1, 2, and 3, absolutely neck and neck. But the thing that's really cool about this as well is that, quite honestly, if you're 4th through to 8th right now, you could easily have a great day today, bump up yourself to #1, because it is so close here in phase 2.
Exactly. I mean, you could see anyone towards the bottom even of this first page, like your Shockwave, your Gladiators, Excuse Me, and Sly Europe, which are 2 teams that I think came as a little bit of a surprise, was how dominant they have been in the second phase. They could be at the top of this one, and these bonus points are pretty important and could also set you up pretty well when it comes to the PMGC points. I know they're not announced yet, but like, we're not going to joke around, okay? It's probably going to be the same system, so those points can be super important as we head in the fall season of this year.
Definitely a few burner teams, unfortunately, at the moment for them. And, you know, yesterday, I was asked the question for the 4th time.
No.
Is Dimwerte a 10th place team? Then they fell to 11th, and now they've fallen to 12th, Max. This is, quite honestly, been a bit of a disaster here for Dimwerte, who looked so strong in phase 1.
Yeah, I was looking at their survival time, and it's so low compared to their phase 1. I think they lost like 3 to 4 minutes average overall. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with Demuerte. We're not seeing the setups from Discrim and Malloy, even though, as I said during the interview I had on Tuesday with Discrim, he was saying the morale was still pretty good for the team. They're feeling good in this lobby. Yeah. I don't know what's happening, really. It might just be the other teams have been playing just so much better. It's just so hard to make a name for yourself in this lobby now. But this drastic of a fall-off is very surprising. So I do hope we can see something from them here.
I think if one thing's to at least keep your morals high is that technically, if you want to actually qualify through to the finals, etc., and able to play their max, you don't have to push super hard. And teams that get themselves kind of these middling positions will still potentially qualify, and then you can kind of get that hard reset for something like a final, right? So there is that always kind of, I suppose, playing in the back of your mind after doing so well in a particular phase.
Well, even more now, because you only have 18 teams, so you're only going to have 2 teams going out before the final. So it's even easier for them to make themselves a spot up there. And with how they performed in the first phase, you know, securing himself a first spot in that last game just above Mad Balls. They got that 20 bonus point too. Overall ranking, they must be looking super comfortable. I think that even if they keep these results in phase 3, they'll make it, of course. But I'm not going to lie, it's hard to replicate what's happening in this PMPL in scrims. So I think that you should use this as like an opportunity to try things, which is maybe what they're doing. Maybe they're like, okay, phase 1 went really well. Let's try something a little bit out of the ordinary. And once we go into the finals, let's go back to our normal play style we had in phase 1.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. As you say, the thing that I always go back to is that this is the best practice. Forget the idea of scrims. Sometimes in scrims, there's some sandbagging going on. Not necessarily maliciously, but to kind of give off that impression that you're to your opponents that, you're a bit of an easier pushover. Okay, you're not really going to be that great on a breach. You're not really going to be that great on holding a location. And then you come to the tournament and really everything is on the line there. Max, I do want to pick your brain just for a moment. I'm going to start off with a team to kind of get this going. Who are your eyes on for today? My eyes are actually still on Major Pride because I do feel like their consistency has been ironed out even more and even more. We saw an amazing game from them yesterday to get the victory with a lot of eliminations. And if they can continue that consistency, I think they could make a gap at the top. What do you think? Who are your eyes on?
I would agree with Major Pride, but if I want to pick a mid-lane team, something that's maybe not as easy, I want to see Dark Project do well. I know you were an advocate for Dark Project after phase 1 and you wanted to see a step up. We saw it yesterday with, I think, a very original way to end their game over on Miramar to get that chicken dinner, but that was maybe a little bit of a glimpse of what we could expect throughout these next 2 days of play to end phase 2. So yeah, I'd love to see if Dark Project can keep that consistency in and then finally get some good points in, because currently in the 11th position, I know this team can be towards the top of that first page, so we'll see if they can make it here.
Yeah, that is fair. As we take a look just at the Major Pride numbers, and now we'll take a look at the Dark Project numbers here. Let's say yesterday actually had quite the pop-off performance. And considering there were some things that Dark Project did yesterday, Max, that was bold, and could have easily been punished, but it felt like a lack of awareness and a lack of information from the rest of the lobby didn't allow it to happen.
Exactly. I think that if any team knew that the compound where Ivanesco was only with one player and how valuable that compound actually was at the time, I think you even said potentially Nexus Gaming could have breached on that position. So it was very risky. They're just lucky no one had that information. But if someone had the information, how do you defend it? Because their split was just so wide apart. I don't think they have time to regroup and defend that compound. I think you just lose the compound, lose Ivanesca, and then you're on the edge of circle, and your chances of a chicken dinner instantly dwindle to almost nothing. So it was original. They do get the win, but I do think there's a very high chance that went another way.
Yeah, I could talk a lot about this, because especially in a 1-3 combination, it's difficult to be able to reinforce exactly where that will. But anyway, it's by the by, we are now almost ready here. Big thank you to Monster for joining us for PMPL EU 23, as we have got so much more action to come. And what better way to enjoy that action than with a cheeky Monster on the side? But anyway, time now to head on over to the commentators to bring us our first game of the day. It's John and Blank.
Assalomu alaykum, yana bir bora hammaga PUBG Mobile do'stlarim, mana bugun sizlar bilan birgalikda mirqib PMPL o'yinlarini ko'rib borishni bir bora nasib qilmoqda. Bizda bugun 5-kun o'yinlari, oxirgidan oldingisi bu fazamiz o'yinlarida va klassik kartalarni spliti bo'yicha bugungi oxirgi kun desa bo'ladi, ya'ni o'sha Erangel, Miramar, Sanok kartalarni spliti bo'yicha oxirgi kun. Ertaga esa bizda an'anaviy weekend kartamiz boshlanadi yoki kimlardir uchun noan'anaviy. Chunki faqatgina fazamiz so'ngida qo'shilmoqda bu karta, eslatib o'tamiz. Va bizda birinchi kartamiz bugungi Sanok. Bu kartamizda o'ynamayotgan jamoalar Nina Power, Shockwave, Major Pride va VIRTUS.PRO jamoalari. Bizda birinchi yo'qotish bor. Birinchi yo'qotish esa UOL jamoasi o'yinchilarida. UOL afsuski bu kartamizni kamchilik bo'lib boshlashmoqda desak adashmagan bo'lamiz. Va birinchi prog zonamiz. Bizda Resortda 5 UOL o'yinchilarida nafaqat bitta, balki ikkinchi o'yinchi ham yo'qotilmoqda. Va endi Michi va Zero duo hozir Doom o'yinchilariga qarshi harakat qilishlari kerak bo'ladi. Doom o'yinchilari esa aksincha hozir 3 kishi Resortni o'zida turishibdi. Michi va Zero adashmasam Resort spotini tark etishga qaror qilishgan. Ko'ramiz bu ularni qayergacha olib boradi. Bu kartasi maksimal darajada qizg'in boshlandi. Birinchi fight qiziq bo'ldi. Undan tashqari birinchi prog zonamiz esa Sanokni tepa qismiga o'ynab ketmoqda. Hattoki 40% gina bemalol quruqlik deb aytolmayman. Qolgan 60% esa suvdan iborat hozirgi zonamizda. Albatta qiziq zona bo'ladigan bu yerda. Katta ehtimol bilan oxirgi zonalar ham aynan o'sha qirg'oqda, Sanok kartamizning qirg'oqlarida bo'ladiganga o'xshaydi. Ko'rishda, kuzatishda davom etamiz. Qani, balki Doom o'yinchilari hozirda o'sha aktiv boshlashgani sababli bu kartamizni balki bu kartamizda hattoki o'sha top o'rinlargacha ham yetib borishar. Ungacha UOLning qolgan duosi harakatlanishmoqda va KPHL hozir ularni payqab qolishi mumkin. Nexus Gamingdan KPHL va menimcha katta ehtimol bilan hozir UOL o'yinchilari aynan hozirgi egallab olgan compoundlari o'zi niyat qilishgan edi egallab olishni. Chunki o'sha undan tashqari boshqa compoundlar yaqin atrofda yo'q. Yaqin atrofda bo'lgan taqdirda ham anchagina open field, ya'ni opendan o'tish kerak. Major Pride yo'qligida esa klassik o'yinchilari unumli foydalanishmoqda va ularni Major Pride'ni aynan spotida hozir bemalol o'z lootlarini amalga oshirishmoqda. Eslatib o'tamiz, bu kartamizni Major Pride o'yinchilari o'tkazib yuborishmoqda. Bu albatta formatimiz sababli, hech qanaqa norasmiy sabab yo'q bunga. Faqatgina shu formatimiz bo'yicha Major Pride o'yinchilari har bir kuni birinchi kartasini o'tkazib yuborishlari kerak. Kartamizda 14 ta jamoa bor. Hech qaysi bir jamoa hali bizni tark etgani yo'q. 54 ta o'yinchilar bo'lsa esa o'yinchilar bo'yicha esa yo'qotishlar jamoalarda bor. Deb o'tamiz. Albatta, birinchi kartamiz boshida o'z taxminlaringizni hozirgi onlayn chatimizda yozib qoldirishingiz mumkin. Aynan qaysi jamoaga o'z taxmininglarni, ya'ni top 1 winner, chicken dinner uchun taxmininglarni qoldirgan bo'lardinglar. Albatta chatda yozib qoldirishni unutmanglar. Bizda esa Game Lord o'yinchilari Resort pozitsiyasiga yaqinlashmoqda va bu Doom o'yinchilari uchun surpriz bo'lishi mumkin. Game Lorddan bundan oldin ham xuddi shunaqa aktiv harakat ko'rgan edik, lekin hozirgi vaziyatda Doom o'yinchilari buni kutishganmi yoki kutishmaganmi, buni birozdan keyin bilib olamiz. bizda hozir faytlar boshlanib ketganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin bu kartamizda va hozirda mana Dagestan o'yinchilarida yo'qotishlari bor. Dagestan o'yinchilari zonadan tashqarida hozir ikkita o'yinchiligini yo'qotib qo'yishdi va bunga sabab Avalanche o'yinchilari. Ajoyib. Hozir highlight namoyish etdi Avalanche o'yinchisi bizga bu vaziyatda va ko'ramiz ularning harakati qay tarzda bo'ladi. Qizig'i Doom o'yinchilari hozir bizga aynan o'sha ikkita yo'l o'yinchilarini minus qilishgan edi va aynan o'sha compoundlarga hozir mushkelini o'z jamoasi bilan kirib kelishi mumkin. Birozgina qaltis harakat bo'ladi chunki yo'lni narigi betida Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari ham kutib turishdi ularni. Menga hozirgi qiziq holat hozir savol tug'ilmoqda desa ham bo'ladi. GT o'yinchilari chap tarafida Kempalfadan harakat qilishadi zonaga. Xuddi shunaqa ular Mad Bulls o'yinchilarini kutib turishgandek go'yo. Va DMR o'yinchilari bunaqa prog zonalarga va o'zi umuman prog zonalar uchun chap tomondan harakat qilishardi sanok kartasida. Ular hozir ulgurishadimi o'zi chap tomondan harakat qilishga? Chunki chap tarafdagi mostda hozir ikkita jamoa borligini bilamiz. Mana qanaqa tushirib olgan Avalanche o'yinchisi qanaqa o'z hisobiga killlarni yozib qo'ygan. Bunga albatta jamoadoshlari yordam berishgan. Buni amalga oshirish shu mana Elysium bit ham qilib yuborganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Doom o'yinchilarida esa birozgina qiyinchilik, chunki ular nok holatiga kelishmoqda va aynan Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari hozir ular tomonga aktiv harakatlarni boshlab yuborishgan. Bizda esa excuse me va Slide Europe o'yinchilari to'qnashib qolishganligini namoyish etishmoqda. Yana bitta o'yinchi nok holatida Doomdan va ko'ramiz excuse me dan bek zajimni qabul qilib oldi. Qochishga ulgurganiga qoyil. Albatta juda ham low HP larda qochishga ulgurdi. Phantom esa zajimga birozgina o'xshagani yo'q. Chunki shundoqqina bir donini o'q uni zajimini samarali qilar edi. 9 soniyadan keyin zonamiz yurishni boshlaydi. Bizga namoyish etishmoqda Nexus Gaming o'yinchilarini ayni 2-2 split ushlab olishganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin va hozir bu yerda Kemi tomonga zashim amalga oshirilmoqda. Michidan o'qlar ham bunaqa ko'p emas yo'l o'yinchilarida. RRdan Elementrix nok holatiga keltirilmoqda. RR va Dark Project o'yinchilari nahotki hozir close fightga kirishib ketishgan bo'lsa, distansiyatik bo'lishi ham mumkin bu fight. Ko'ramiz. Distansiyada bo'lmoqda. Elementrixni dabit qilib yuborishmaydi chunki bu yerda tekstura bor. Hop, Mad Bulls va Game Lord o'yinchilari bir-biriga o'zaro nok berishayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin kill chatimiz orqali va bizga mana Game Lord o'yinchilarini ham namoyish etishmoqda. Live'dan ajoyib hayeshga ko'ramiz. Viktorni holatiga keltira olishadimi? Katta ehtimol bilan keltiradi hozir mana Flight. Viktordan o'tdi-ku hayeshga, lekin borib tushdi nok holatidagi Narvalovga. Dorian hozir yo'l o'yinchisini nok holatiga keltirmoqda. Zerich tomonga hozir spray amalga oshirildi. Yo'l o'yinchilari bizda bu kartamizda birinchi bo'lib tark etishmoqda hisobligida. Kill pointlarsiz albatta. Mad Bulls'dan Flag hozir nok holatiga keldi, lekin Flagni o'zini hayeshkasi ham nok holatiga keltirdi Game Lord o'yinchisini va vaziyat Game Lord o'yinchilari uchun birozgina qiyin, chunki shundoqqina uporligida o'yinchi bor, ular haqida ma'lumot berib turgan. Nok holatidagi bo'lsa-da Frozen ko'ramiz bu vaziyatda nima qiladi. Sayga qo'lida close fight uchun Sayga albatta bu juda deb lekin kontrol qilib olishdi. Kontrol qilish qiyin bo'lgan qurol deb aytmoqchi edim. Bizda u vaqtda Dark Project o'yinchilari yopilib ketishmoqda. Bizda ikkinchi o'yinchi ham Medbossda nok holatida tezroq harakat qilish kerak. Yana bitta o'yinchi nok holatida Atolika Viktorni qayta nokka keltirmoqda. Maksimal darajada tez harakat qilish kerak. Hozir Frozandan David ham qilib yuborishga ulgurishda. Akashi bu vaziyatda maksimal darajada profit bilan harakat qilinmoqda o'z jamoasi uchun. Ko'ramiz, ikkita jamoadoshni ham agar hozir ko'tarib oladigan bo'lsa, bu albatta Medboss o'yinchilarining xatosi bo'ladi. Va umuman boshqa flangda hozir JJ o'yinchilari sal kam yopilib ketishmoqda. Bu ham albatta, bu fight ham albatta qiziq. Bunga hozir excuse me o'yinchilari sabab bo'lishmoqda. Manimcha JJ o'yinchilari bizni sekin asta tark etishmoqda. Ko'rib olamiz, birozdan keyin bilib olamiz ham. Propsni hozir payqab nok holatiga keltirish mumkin edi Tulika, lekin payqagani yo'q. Game Lord o'yinchilari o'zaro bir-birlarini ko'tarib olib oldinga harakat qilishmoqda. Ko'ramiz. PMPL o'yinchilar hozir qayerga qildirmoqda. Discream sherigini ko'tarishga ham ulgurmoqda. Ko'ramiz. Happy Ray payqadi coverni Ingush va hozir bu mana qayerga ishlash kerak. Yo'q, xuddi payqagandek. Ingush ortiqcha pik qilmasligi uchun Happy Ray tomonga tashlab qo'ymoqda. Ingush qila olmadi, bir donigina o'q bilan DBSdan. Va ko'ramiz vaziyat qay tarzda tus oladi. Bu vaqtda esa Discream nok holatida DMRdan ko'ramiz. DMRda o'yinchilari nima qila olishadi bu vaziyatda? Juda ham qaltis holatda qolib ketishdi, chunki zona ham kelganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Zonaga ular harakat qilishlari kerak. Qo'shimchasiga o'yinchilar ham nok holatida ularni ko'tarib bo'lmaydi. Milky Way'ni o'zi ham zonadan nok holatiga uchramoqda va bir dona yana Malloyni o'zi solo qolayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Sherigi ham bor, lekin sherigini ko'tarib o'tirmasa kerak katta ehtimol bilan. Va zonaga yurish kerak bo'ladi. Bu kartamizga holatni ko'rishingiz mumkin. Mana hard shift past tomonga Tatmok zonada joylashib turibdi. Havoni bir qismi ham bir dona compound ham zonada joylashgan va maksimal darajada qiziq va qizg'in o'yinlar bo'lib o'tishi kutilmoqda. 34 ta o'yinchi, 11 ta jamoa bor bu kartamizda. Havlik Dum o'yinchisini hayashkasidan hozir uchmoqda va uni David ham qilib yuborishda. Medboss bo'lsa bizda top 11 ga yopilib ketmoqda. Shunchalik tez yopilib ketishdiki, hattoki biz payqab ham ulgurganimiz yo'q. Bu yerda esa xuddi shunaqa juda ham tez yopilib ketishga yana bitta da'vogarlardan kasb o'yinchilar bo'ladi. Va mana sizga o'sha agressiv push excuse me o'yinchilari tomoniga qarata ko'ramiz. Yashka Bek tomonidan birinchi o'yinchi striker, ya'ni nok holatida. Ko'ramiz, ikkinchi o'yinchi tomonga Hayashka yana otildi. Black nok holatiga keltirildi. Excuse me dan Bekdan yana bir ajoyib Hayashka Ingoshni qayta yana nok keltirmoqda. Elementrix yordam berib yubordi. Excuse me o'yinchilariga hozir bu yerda ancha yaxshi harakat qilishdi. Ko'ramiz, yo'q, mana kazik o'yinchilar yopilib ketishdi va to'g'ri ularga hozir endi excuse me jamoasiga ARR bostirib kelishlari mumkin. Excuse me esa 6 killni ishlashga ulgurishgan. Tezroq Bekka yordam berish kerak. Bek tomonga Molotov va Hayashkalar otilmoqda. Demer esa 9-o'ringa yo'l olishmoqda. 9 bu jamoa o'yinchilari uchun. Bekni David qilib yuborishdi. Bekni tapak David qilib yubordi. Ikkita o'zbek o'yinchisi va nihoyat mana kill chatimizda ko'rishganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Kartamiz davom etadi. Maksimal darajada qiziq karta bo'lmoqda bu kartamiz. Grantlarni tez yo'qotdik. Medboss, GG. PMPL o'yinchilari birinchi fazani g'oliblari ularni ham yo'qotdik va bu fazani grandlari ayrer jamoasi hali o'yinda. Ular hisobida 7 ta kill point bor. Faqat bizda yo'qligini ko'rishimiz mumkin kill. Yevropa o'yinchilari bir donigina mandarinni yo'qotib oldinga harakat qilishmoqda. 2 ta killigi bor bu jamoani va bu jamoaga ham to'p kerak. Yigirma soniyadan keyin zonamiz yurishni boshlaydi va umumiy jadval bo'yicha excuse me o'yinchilari hozirda top 4 da turishgan edi. Top 3, top 4 va ularga hozir yopilib ketish umuman yaramaydi. Ular har bitta kartadan maksimal bo'lgan to'plarni qo'lga kiritishlari kerak. Aynan faza davomidagi top 1 uchun kurashishga. Ko'ramiz, dum o'yinchilariga hozir yaxshi agressiv harakat bo'ldi. Slaydan Hashipani holatida qiziq albatta. Ayrer o'yinchisi hozir Nexus Gamingdan nok holatiga keltirildi. Elementrix bir necha bora bugun o'zida nok holatiga keldi. Uni dabit ham qilib yuborishdi. Menimcha 3 ta bo'lib qolishdi Ayrer o'yinchilari. Tapik esa boshqa jamoaga qarshi zajim bermoqda va uni nok holatiga ham keltirdi. Kimi tomonidan ajoyib qayishga avalanchdan bir o'yinchisini nok holatiga keltirdi. Ko'ramiz, samarasi bo'ladimi keyingi qayishkalarni. Nima bo'lsa hammasini otdi Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari Avalanche tomonga qarata va yopib yuborishdi ham. Octavian bilan Kimi yaxshi harakat qildi va hozir o'zlari uchun kerakli bo'lgan pozitsiyani tozalab olishdi. Excuse me o'yinchilari yaxshi pozitsiyani egallab turishganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Ularning kempoundlarni hamma ham push qilishga jur'at etavermaydi va shuni hisobiga yaxshi harakat bo'lishi mumkin. Ayrer o'yinchilar tomonidan mana shu fight namoyish etib o'tilmoqda. Klassik va excuse me o'yinchilari qanaqa fight qilishgani Tapik bekani to'g'ri. Tapik bekni urib yuborgani. O Game Lordda birinchi minus nok holati, ya'ni ikkinchi o'yinchi ham Victor ham nok holatida. Ko'ramiz, Game Lord o'yinchilar bizda top 5 da yopilib ketishgan bo'lsa, bekani esa bizda hozir excuse me o'yinchilari tutib olishmoqda. Ko'ramiz, bit qilib yuborishadimi yoki yo'q. Vaziyatga qarab-ku, lekin baribir bekani hozir ko'tarish birozgina qaltis bo'ladi. Yonida sherigi ham yo'q ekan. Tapik bir donga sherigi qolgan, u ham bo'lsa uzoqda. O'ylashganingni ko'rishimiz mumkin. To'g'ri o'ynalmoqda azizlar. Tapik birinchi o'yinchini holatiga keltirdi. Kapaxaldan debit qilishga harakat qiladimi yoki yo'q. Tapik hozir orqasidan aynan zajimni qabul qilib olishi mumkin u ham. Va ko'ramiz ortiqcha harakat qilib yubormayotgan bo'lsa bo'ldi. Octavian sezdi Tapikni qayerdaligini. Tapik esa qayerga qizdirmoqda. Octavian hozir damage'larni qabul qilib oldi bu vaziyatda. Nok holatdagi o'yinchini dabit qilishga harakat qilayotgandek. Octavian tomonga qayerga otildi. Nok holatiga keladimi? Yo'q, ya'ni damage bor, lekin nok holatiga keltirilgani yo'q. Octavian hozir mana nok holatiga keltirildi. Yaxshi yerga Tapik tomonidan Kimi ham ortiqcha harakat qilishlari kerak emas. Ajoyib hozir nok holati. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari hozir bu Tapikni bunaqa piklaridan hozir chidab tura olishganligi yo'q va to'g'ri lobbiga harakat qilib qo'yishmoqda. Excuse me ham to'p uchun kurashmoqda, buni birgalikda ko'rmoqdamiz. O, yaxshi, sizlar Yevropa o'yinchilari top 4da. Bizda tapak excuse me dan ikkita o'yinchi va Nexus Gamingdan esa bitta Dorin qolganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Tapak ortiqcha harakat qilib yuborish kerak emas albatta, chunki shundaqina Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari bor. To'g'ri qilib hozir smoklarni tashlab qo'ymoqda. Zonaga kirib olish kerak u albatta. Va bu vaziyatda tapakni sezishmoqda. Dorin unga qarshi qani birga bir fightni ko'ramiz nima qilishadi va eng qizig'i excuse me o'yinchilari sekin Fury orqasida kelayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Xayeshka otildi. Bu flashka ekan, Xayeshka emas. Tapak yaxshi harakat qildi. Yo'q, Nexus Gamingdan ikkita ekan. Kapaxallarni ham ko'tarishga ulguribdi. Demak, bu IRR o'yinchilari uchun top 3 va hozir ko'ramiz Nexus Gamingdan balki mana bu duo o'zlarini yaxshi ko'rsatib top 1 ni ham qo'lga kiritib ketishlari mumkin. Fury va Black yotib olishgan, sanub kartamizda bilamiz. Yotib olsa bilinmaydi ham, lekin Kapaxalani tutib olmoqda. Yaxshi, birinchi knock holati, ikkinchisi ajoyib harakat qildi. Fury va top 1 ni o'z jamoasi uchun olib kelmoqda. Tabriklab qolamiz excuse me jamoasini. Ular ajoyib o'yinni ko'rsatishdi va kerakli bo'lgan ular uchun top 1 ni qo'lga kirishdi. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Tabriklab qolamiz excuse me jamoasini. Xuddi shunaqa IRR jamoasi ham yaxshi harakat qilishdi. Ularni ham tapak bilan birgalikda albatta tabriklab qolamiz. Ko'rgan jamoalarga esa keyingi kartalarda omad tilab qolamiz. Hammaga rahmat. Birozgina tanqid qilib olamiz va sizlar bilan yana ikkinchi kartada ko'rishamiz.
What to say? I don't know.
Oh no, it all went wrong for Nexus at the hands of Tapok. Joining me here, Max, to talk about this. Where do we even begin, Max? There's so much to break down.
I don't know. Octavian gets hit by a nade at first. He's like, I'm going to move a bit forward. Still nadeable. He's like, I'm going to move even more forward. You're still nadeable, and he knows where you are. He's got that third-person perspective. You're still in danger, but he still commits to the planks, and he goes out. I don't know. There's a lot, as you said before we went on desk here, there's a lot to unpack, but not in a good way.
Okay, so actually let's start with the very top, with excuse me, right? There's a bit to unpack here because they took the absolute opportune moment to push up when they hear that kind of chaos unfolding. So great stuff by them to be able to effectively make the winning play there. And at that point, Max, Nexus had no idea where those snakes were. They just didn't have the information to work with. And I'm surprised by that, considering you've got 4 people malleable there to be able to keep an eye on all of these moves. And yes, okay, whilst the chaos is going over that Tapok's causing, you should still have someone watching for that cross from excuse me.
Exactly. And as John said at the end there, I count this as a Tapok chicken dinner. An unofficial one, but I count it as a Tapok chicken dinner there. Get himself almost 1,000 damage, 900 right there, and 5 elims on the board. Really, not much of an excuse for the side of Nexus. This should have been the easiest chicken dinner for them because they won this chicken dinner, I think, on day 1 on this exact kind of like terrain, so they know how this plays out typically. But yeah, I mean, we said it about ARR yesterday. They still get themselves some good points in 10 elims on the board this time around over on Sanok. So yeah, they're rounding things up, and this would actually push them up in first place, I believe.
And Tapok making a big name for himself, not even necessarily off the back of his, I mean, okay, he's very skilled and we're watching that play out, definitely, but when it comes to moments like that, if you're Octavian and these guys, third-person perspective, you can't be moving up that way. As we take a look at the highlights here, sorry, I just feel very impassioned by this moment. You can't be pushing up that way. It's too slow. If you've got the man advantage, you need to be pushing up as 2 and trying to cause your opponent some disruption instead of those nades coming out.
I want to bring up another topic that we're both very passionate about, Kalaris, which is utility in late game. I do not understand how Nexus do not have it, because they were looting Cal, they were looting Tapmok for the longest time. The only team they really clashed with early on was Unicorns of Love, where they had a pretty quick, rapid fight happening there. They got themselves 2 elims. If you have nades and you know where Tapok is, that is the easiest nade in your life, because Tapok cannot really move any further back because he has the blue zone behind him. So I feel like even just one nade, you force him out, you get the flush if he does not go down because of the nade. I think that is the easiest play that could go down for them. So yeah, it's not only there's not only like potentially mistakes for the side of Nexus Gaming though, it is also really good individual plays from Tapok. So respect to Tapok, he really stood his ground there.
Yeah, definitely. So as we take a look at it, no, again. Like, okay, so I was irritated when we moved up to the planks behind us, which he got clipped by a nade, and then he moved to the planks which were a little bit left to that. But then when we lie down on those logs, I was out. I was vacant at that point, Max. That was unfortunate for Nexus.
I didn't even see he got the nade down onto a player of the other player of Nexus. Oh, okay, so he almost got himself the entire squad wipe. Almost 1v4. That would have been a nuts play from him. But then, yeah, as we saw, being very opportunistic. There's the opportunity to cross over during that fight. Get himself a strong little position. And then Furio with, I think it was a UMP, then a DPS.
Yeah.
At that range, you're not going to survive.
Well, of course, Excuse Me does get the victory here. And actually, we can hear from Excuse Me coming into the tournament and see what they think for the PMPL.
Welcome back. It's time for another player interview here for PMPL EU Spring 2023. This time I'm going to be joined by Beck from Excuse Me. Beck, thanks so much for joining me. How are you feeling so far in the event?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, amazing, fantastic.
Perfect. I mean, I can definitely say your second phase has been looking fantastic so far with 2 chicken dinners. And actually, I want to ask you, from phase 1, it's been a little bit of a rough start in this PMPL season, to now the second phase where you guys have got 6 top 5 finishes, 2 of those actually being chicken dinners. What have you and the team worked on internally to now meet these new results?
Actually, we didn't change any strategies and something like that. The first phase, we were just a little bit lost, so this phase, we're coming out, you know, and we're feeling much better. So yeah, and of course, 2 chicken dinners gave us some good boost, so we can perform the games, you know.
I can understand how 2 chicken dinners would give you a decent boost, but on the broadcast last time, we were asking you on that interview about, that drop that you were having in Picado, the fact that you changed that drop location. Now that you have the time to play and also have a few days break, do you feel like that overall has been having a really positive impact on you, and will you keep this drop for the remainder of this event?
Yeah, we will continue to play like the way we played yesterday, yeah. So nothing will change, I think. We'll be in the same year.
A bizarre moment in the universe just occurred, Max, where we're listening to Excuse Me, we've just watched them get the win, and then I look down on my phone and it's an Instagram pop-up saying, Excuse Me Esports, who you might know, is on Instagram. So, how? What? This is witchcraft, Max. Is this what you're doing? I'm not sure.
If it's social media, it's probably me. I don't know, actually. Maybe they got himself on Instagram. You've got to follow the boys. Yeah.
I guess so, yeah. I'm being told I have to. They just won the game. Anyway, let's take a look at the overalls coming in. ARR is #1 here. If you would have said this to me, Max, midway through phase 1, that this was going to be an occurrence, I'd have called you a liar.
Well, I didn't think it would happen this quickly, that we would almost have a completely different top 3, except for the side of Game Lord that's still up there. But now you've got Excuse Me and AR Esports that's just moved up, and Excuse Me being actually a new addition to this top 3, while Major Pride did fall off a little bit. But Major Pride did not play in this one, I believe, so they're just going to get himself 4 matches in a row after this one. As towards the bottom, I mean, Unicorns of Love, I still have a glimmer of hope, but it's just not meant to be. I think it's sad times.
Oh, there you go, there you go. Sad times for some of those teams down towards the bottom. Not too many points being revealed for them just yet here in this phase. However, maybe they can boost things up a little bit as we now move on to the grassy pastures, of course. It's Erangel. Let's head over to John and Black.
Bizda esa ikkinchi kartamiz start olganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Ikkinchi kartamiz bugungi Erangel kartasi va bizga Nexus Gaming o'yinchilarini namoyish etishmoqda. Nexus Gaming bu kartani o'tkazib yuboradigan GG o'yinchilari spotida turishdi, ya'ni 12 da. Katta ehtimol bilan bunaqa razlyodkada 12 spotiga tushishadi Gaming Gladiators o'yinchilari va bizda umumiy musobaqamiz jadvali bo'yicha, ya'ni ikkinchi fazamizning jadvali bo'yicha bitta quvonarli narsa bor. Bu ikkita o'zbek o'yinchisini jamoalari birinchi va ikkinchi o'rinlarni egallab turibdi. Bu albatta quvonarli. Bundan oldingi kartamizda Tapikning sa'y-harakatlari sababli to'pishni qo'liga kiritgan ARR o'yinchilari hozir ikkinchi fazamizning liderlari bo'lib turishibdi. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Ajoyib o'yinni ko'rsatishmoqda bu jamoalar. Excuse me esa top 2da 147 151 pointlar bilan ularning ketlaridan Yevropaning jamoasi Game Lord bo'lib turishibdi. Va ko'ramiz bundan keyingi kartalarda yana o'zbek o'yinchilari va jamoalari to'rog'i bitta o'zbek tashkiloti jamoasi bor. U ham bo'lsa Avalanche, ularga ham omad tilab qolamiz. Bizga mana как раз Avalanche to'rog'i ayrim o'yinchilarni namoyish etishmoqda. Ular o'z spotlarida gatkolarning spotlari bemalol lootlarni amalga oshirishmoqda. Ularga hech nima hozir qarshilik ko'rsatayotgani yo'q. Lootlarni amalga oshirishda DMR esa sosnovkada DMR o'yinchilarini albatta qiziq sosnovkani loot qilishlari. Bundan oldingi har bitta kartamizda ham DMR o'yinchilarini sosnovkada ko'rmayotgan edik. Erangel kartalarida va bu qaror hozir qiziq ko'rinmoqda. Kanina Power o'yinchilari Excuse me'ni bu kartamizni o'tkazib yuboradigan Excuse me jamoasini spotidaligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. G.GLADIATORSni pastki qismida o'ynashar ekan Kanina Power o'yinchilari. Bu kartamizda birinchi spotlari shu. Bu kartamiz uchun Kanina Power o'yinchilarida ham kecha top 1 ko'rdik, lekin qani bugun ko'ramiz va Kanina Power o'yinchilaridan aktiv o'yinni bu kartamizga eslatib o'tamiz. VIRTUS.PRO, Major Byte, Kanina Power o'yinchilari kabi jamoalar qo'shilib kelishdi. Bundan oldin kartamizni o'tkazib yuborishgan edi bu o'yinchilar. Shockwave adashmasam ular o'tkazib yuborishgan edi. Kartalarimizda Mad Boss va Major Byte uchrashib qolishganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Yen haqida ma'lumotga ega hozir Derich transportda turib otmoqda. Birozgina foydasiz va Mad Boss o'yinchilari bu pozitsiyani shunchaki yaqinlashmaydigan bo'ldi, chunki xavfli hozir bu pozitsiyaga yaqinlashish, chunki jamoadoshlar ham bor, bemalol kutib olish imkoniyati bor. Major Byte o'yinchilarida mana birozgina bo'lsa-da aylanib hozir harakat qilishmoqda. Transportni o'yin qilishdi, lekin Mad Boss o'yinchilari hali hamon o'sha o'z niyatidan qaytishganligi ham yo'qligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Ular boshqa pozitsiyani egallashga ketishdi. Dagestan o'yinchilari ham bular haqida ma'lumotga ega bo'lib, umuman boshqa pozitsiyani egallashga ketishdi. Balki gitarani egallashar hozir. Mana Shifu ayni o'sha gitara haqida ma'lumotga ega bo'lishdi. Yo'q, ular boshqa yoqqa burib yuborishdi va ularni lokatsiyaligi boshqa bo'ladi. Hozir ko'ramiz. Aynan qaysi lokatsiyaga borib to'xtashadi. Mana ular bitta compoundlarni tanlashdi va Dagestan o'yinchilari taxminan kamida bitta zonani shu spotlarda to'g'ri shu compoundlarda o'tkazishadi. Balki umuman agar zona shu tomonlarga o'ynaydigan bo'lsa, balki umuman shu spotda qolishlari ham mumkin. Elisio va uning jamoadoshlari vaziyat tubdan farq qiladi. Ya'ni ular hali zonaga kirib olishlari kerak va zonani ichidan yaxshiroq pozitsiyani tanlab olishlari kerak. Avalanche o'yinchilarini bilamiz. Unaqa ko'zga tashlanishmaydi karta davomida. Va hozir ham unaqa aktiv zonani o'rtasida harakat qilishayotganchalik yo'q. Killlar bo'yicha hozir ikkinchi fazamizning lideri bu Robs bo'lib turibdi Game Lorddan 36 ta kill, 33 ta kill esa bizda o'sha adashmasam bu IRR o'yinchisi Elementrix edi. Va mana o'sha jadvalimiz bo'yicha IRR birinchi o'rinda, bu kartamizni o'tkazib bo'ladigan Excuse Me ikkinchi o'rinda, uchinchi o'rinda Game Lord, to'rda Major Bright, Sly Europe 5da, Madboss top 6, Nexus Gaming top 7, top 8 gacha tushib ketdi Gaming Gladiators o'yinchilari. Bu albatta kamida ikkita top 1 yoki ikkita o'sha top 3 gacha kirishsa, ikki marta ketma-ket, unda o'sha yana top 3 ga qaytish imkoniyatlari bo'ladi. Anina Power, IRR va Madboss o'yinchilari hozir o'zaro yonma-yon o'tib ketishayotganini ko'rdik. IRRda birinchi nok holati bor, ikkinchi o'yinchi ham nok holatida, afsuski tezlik bilan yopilib ketish ehtimoli bor hozir IRR o'yinchilarida. Bir donigina o'yinchi qoldi, adashmayotgan bo'lsam, IRRdan oyoqda yo'q yopilib ketishmoqda. Top 15 IRR o'yinchilari hozir umumiy jadvalimizda top 1da turgan jamoa, afsuski bu kartamizda birinchilardan bo'lib yopilib ketishmoqda. Madboss o'yinchilari ham bu faytdan keyin yo'qotishlarga ega bo'lishmoqda. Dagestan 77 o'yinchilari hozir bu faytga qo'shilib kelish niyatida harakat qilishmoqda. Keep close fightga zerish bilan kirishmoqda. Ko'ramiz. Madboss o'yinchilariga bostirib kelishdi Dagestan 77 o'yinchilari. Madboss esa to'liq tarkib bilan hozir qaytib olishganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin va himoyada hozircha yomon o'ynashayotgani yo'q. Bitta o'yinchini nok holatiga tushirishga ham ulgurishdi. Dagestanda bitta emas, ikkita o'yinchi nok holatida Zerich nok holatiga keltirildi. Zadira tomonidan Limba Boom tomoniga Hayeshka otilmoqda. Yaxshi Hayeshka Tulika tomonidan nok holatiga keltirdi. Zadirani o'zi endi bitta o'zi harakat qilishga majbur bo'ladi, sheriklarini ko'tarib olmaguncha albatta. Molotov otildi, juda ham xavfli vaziyat. Hozir Zadira yonib ketish ehtimoli ham bor bu vaziyatda. Zadirani qo'lida, lekin DBS va bu DBS hozir ko'p narsani hal qilib qo'yishi mumkin. Ko'ramiz bu vaziyatda qaysi jamoa g'olib bo'lib chiqadi. Bizda faytlar ketma-ketligi davom etmoqda. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari hozir himoyada bo'lib turishmoqda. Ko'ramiz, Dark Project o'yinchilari bu vaziyatda qay tarzda himoya hozir endi faqatgina Madness o'zi qolmoqda himoyaga, lekin tezlik bilan yopib yuborishdi Dark Project o'yinchilarini. Bu vaziyatda ortiqcha agressiya qilishga berishgani yo'q Dark Projectga va bu vaziyatda Dagestan 77 o'yinchilari qiziq albatta, ajoyib clutch ko'rganga o'xshaymiz va ko'ramiz VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari aynan shu pozitsiyaga kirib kelishgan va Dagestan o'yinchilarini aynan bu pozitsiyada umri unaqa uzoq bo'lgani yo'q va ular ham Madboss ketidan yopilib ketishdi. Ajoyib clutch ularga yordam bergani yo'q va hozir bu vaziyatda Dagestan 77 o'yinchilari 6 kill bilan yopilib ketishmoqda. Ana endi u compoundlarni VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari egallab turishadi. Odatda bilamiz VIRTUS.PRO faqatgina bo'sh compoundlarga kirib kelishga harakat qilishadi. Hozirda esa mana va nihoyat ular bilan birgalikda fight ham ko'rdik. VIRTUS.PRO ishtirokida. Bu albatta har doim ham kuzatilavermaydi. Va hozir Game Lord uchun bu ajoyib imkoniyat, yana top 1 ga qaytib olish uchun, chunki Game Lord o'yinchilarini oldida Ayrer va Excuse Me o'yinchilari bor edi. Excuse Me bu kartani tek tugi bilan o'tkazib yuborishgan. Format bo'yicha, turnirimiz musobaqani formati bo'yicha. Va mana sizga ana o'sha fight Ayrer va Madboss qanaqa Elementrix holatiga keltirganini Frozen ajoyib tarzda Berilda zag'im qilib uchgan holatida holatiga keltirdi. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Bu yerda Game Lord o'yinchilarining vaziyati unaqa oson emas, yaxshi emas, chunki Victorning transport baggisini orqa ballonni teshib qo'yishgan. Bu albatta juda ham qiyin harakatlanadi degani keyin baggi va Game Lord o'yinchilari zonani bir chekkasida turishdi. Keyingi rotatsiyalar uchun bu albatta o'ziga yarasha qiyinchiliklarni tug'diradi. Boya gapga qaytadigan bo'lsak, Game Lord o'yinchilarini oldidagi jamoalar bu kartamizni yoki o'tkazib yuborishadi yoki yopilib ketishdi. Bunga misol qilib Ayrer jamoasini ayta oladigan bo'lsam, ya'ni yopilib ketgan jamoa sifatida Excuse Me esa bu kartamizni o'tkazib yuborishgan. Shuning uchun Game Lordda yaxshi imkoniyat top 1 ga chiqib olish uchun. Zona ham ulardan unaqa qochgani yo'q. Uzog'i borsa 150 metr zonaga kirishlari kerak bo'ladi. Ko'ramiz, kuzatamiz, xuddi shunaqa yaxshi imkoniyat Major Pride o'yinchilarida ham bor. Top 1 uchun menimcha top 1 ga chiqib olish qiyinroq bo'ladi-ku, lekin top 1 ga juda ham yaqin kelib olishlari mumkin. Hozirda zonadagi jamoalar bor bizda. Misol Kalina Power, Classic o'yinchilari, Shockwave, mana Game Lord ham endi zonada, lekin Doom o'yinchisi tomonidan hozir yaxshigina xayish ko'chishdi. Mushkilini adashmasam uni nok holatiga keltirdi. Ikkinchi o'yinchi ham nok holatida, lekin mushkilini tez topishdi. Game Lord o'yinchilariga hozir agressiya bildirishmasa bemalol bir-birlarini ko'tarib olishadi, bu aniq. Va katta ehtimol bilan ular tomonga hech qanaqa agressiya bo'lmaydi agar jamoalar rotatsiyasi aynan o'sha tarafga bo'lmaydigan bo'lsa, ya'ni aylanib qilib zonaga kirishmagan bo'lsa, u tomondan jamoa yo'q. Ortiqcha harakat qiladigan. Demir o'yinchilari o'zlarini zonadagi pozitsiyalarini yaxshilab olish harakatida bo'lib turishmoqda. Virtual va uning jamoadoshlari o'sha payt egallab olgan pozitsiyalarida hali hamon o'tirishibdi. Endi zona bor, ularga qochishga ne hojat? To'g'ri, o'z pozitsiyalarini o'zgartirishdan foyda yo'q. Yaxshi egallab turishib, hozircha o'zlarining pozitsiyalarini hech kimga yaqinlashtirishayotgani yo'q. Avalanche va Shockwave o'yinchilari bizda bu fightlarni ko'rishimiz mumkin ular ishtirokida. Elisio va uning jamoadoshlari to'rga to'g'ri fight. Mana Elisioni holatiga keltirildi Hayeshkadan. Birinchi bu vaziyatda, bu fightda birinchi kim nok holatiga uchrasa, ya'ni o'sha Hayeshkadan, u himoyalanishga majbur bo'ladi odatda. Mana ikkinchi Hayeshka. Ko'ramiz qanchalik samarali. Elisio tomonga yaxshi Hayeshka bo'ldi va Terminus ham yaxshi Hayeshkani qabul qilib oldi. Orqasidan Shockwave o'yinchisi kirib keldi. Azer qo'pol xato qildi desak bo'ladi. Chunki Avalanche o'yinchilari hozir yaxshi splitni ushlab turishgan edi. Birinchi killni hattoki hisobligiga yozib qo'yishdimi? Yo'q, hali Azerni dabit qilishgani yo'q. Hali kill ham shuni hisobiga yozilgani yo'q. Terminusda birozgina o'sha aktiv harakatlarini to'xtatib qo'yishdi bu harakat bilan Avalanche. Terminusni holatiga tushib qolishi mumkin. Tushmoqda ham juda qaltis harakat qildi. Va kerak emas bo'lgan harakatni ham amalga oshirdi desak bo'ladi. Qisman bo'lsa ham uni ortaya qochish yaramas edi albatta. Shockwave'da ikkita nok holati. Ko'ramiz bu vaziyatda kim g'olib bo'ladi. Woodson qo'lida Uzi edi, o'qlari qolmagan. Tryson holatida yo'q. Shockwave o'yinchilarini yopib yuborishmoqda. Yaxshi harakat qilishdi bu fightda Avalanche o'yinchilari, kuta ola bilishdi nok va xatoni. Sly Europe ularni ketidan ham yopilib ketishmoqda. Top 10 Sly Europe uchun birdaniga kill bilan. Birdaniga jamoalar yopilib ketishdi bu kartamizda. Hozirda 30 ta o'yinchi va 8 ta jamoa bor bu kartamizda. Ko'ramiz, kuzatamiz. Zonamiz tobora kichkinalashmoqda. Hozir keyingi prog zonamizni ko'rib olamiz. Keyingi prog zonamiz esa pastroqqa o'ynamoqda. DMR o'yinchilari maza qilib zonani o'rtasini egallab turishdi. O'rtasi va tepa qismini egallab turishdi. E'tiboringiz uchun bu yerda hozir ikkita jamoa ularga tahdid solishi mumkin. Bu Classic va Game Lord o'yinchilari. Classic va Game Lord o'zaro o'tish ehtimollari ham bor. Buni ham unutish kerak emas. Demer birinchi nokni qabul qilib olishmoqda. Epichain holatida va biz bu faytni hozir ko'rib borib bilamiz. Epichainni ko'tarib olish imkoniyati bo'ladimi yoki yo'q? Epichain transportidan tushirib olishganligi mumkin, adashmayotgan bo'lsam. Va ko'ramiz. Mana endi transportni portlatib yuborildi, ko'tarib olsa bo'ladi menimcha deganimda. Striker Maloyni dabit qilib to'g'ri Epichainni dabit qilib yubordi. Diskning pozitsiyasiga Avalanche bostirib kelishdi. Bu vaziyatda juda ham qaltis. Maloy Elysionni holatiga keltirdi. Maloy haqida ma'lumotga ega emas ekan Avalanche o'yinchilari va bu vaziyatda endi Maloy o'zi transportda oldinga harakat qiladi. Oldingi bo'lmasa ham menimcha kamida o'z pozitsiyasini o'zgartiradi, lekin bu yerda Avalanche'da yana bitta o'yinchisi bor. Mana Woodson hozir o'ziga xos alamini oldi. Va bu vaziyatda Demer o'yinchilari endi kamchilik bo'lib qolishadi. Yaxshigina kamchilik. Adashmayotgan bo'lsam, hattoki o'sha solo o'yinchi qoldi. Ko'ramiz, kuzatamiz Kapaxala qayerga qizdirmoqda. Kanina Power o'yinchisi tomoniga. Ko'ramiz. Kanina Power yaxshi himoyalanishmoqda. Nexus Gaming'da bitta o'yinchi nok holatida, lekin qarshi hujum, qarshi nok ham mavjud. Yaxshi. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari Abalduy yaxshi harakat qildi, qarshi hujumga o'ta oldi. Noklar ketma-ketliga adashsa birga bir holat bo'lmoqda bu yerda. Fache va Kapaxala ikkita yaxshi strikerlar hozir bir-biriga qarshi. Bu duelni ancha kutgan edim men. Aynan bunaqa yaxshi strikerlar duelini va bu yerda hozir Kapaxala ahamiyat bering. Kapaxala AKMda Fache esa close fight uchun Yumpikda harakat qilmoqda. Kapaxala qayerkasini ko'rdi Facheni. Ajoyib harakat qilishadi baribir bu ikki o'yinchi. Juda ham simpatiya katta bularning o'yiniga. Bitta mandamas deb o'ylayman va Fache nima qiladi bu vaziyatda ko'ramiz. Yumpik uni qo'lida eslatib o'tamiz. AKM esa Kapaxalada. Fache va Kapaxalani o'zi ham damajni qabul qilib oldi. Kapaxala damajlari kamroq, tezroq aptechkalarni urib olish kerak. Fache. Ko'ramiz, shlemlari hali ko'tsini emas. Bu vaqtda Kasik o'yinchilari bizni tark etishmoqda. Buni Game Lord amalga oshirmoqda. Game Lord katta ehtimol bilan hozir onlayn jadvalimizda top 1ga chiqib olmoqda. Abalduyni ko'tarishga qaror qilgan Fache demak. Vaziyatda buni bilgan Kapaxala hozir oldinga harakat qilayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Yopilib ketdi Kapaxala bu ishni amalga oshirmoqda. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari tabriklab qolamiz, ular ajoyib o'yinni ko'rsatishdi va hozirda ana endi Kapaxala o'zini jamoasi uchun kerakli bo'lgan pointlarni ishlashda davom etadi jamoasi uchun. Qaramiz, Game Lord esa duo qolishgan. Duo hisobligida 6 ta kill bor. Hali karta tugagani yo'q Avalanche to'g'ri Game Lord o'yinchilari uchun. Lekin ularni to'liq tarkib bilan hozir Avalanche o'yinchilari to'liq emas, ikkita o'yinchi adashmayotgan bo'lsam chek qilib turibdi. Mana o'sha ikkita o'yinchidan bittasi ham ushbu pozitsiyani shunchaki tashlab ketganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Bu yerda esa bizda hozir o'sha Avalanche to'g'ri VIRTUS.PRO va Major Pride o'yinchilari faytlari bo'lishi mumkin. Zonamiz yurishni boshladi. Monkey tomonga hozir qayerga otilganligini ko'rdik. Ko'ramiz, Major Pride ham 3 ta bo'lib harakat qilishmoqda. Major Pride'ga ham aytib o'tganidek yaxshigina imkoniyat. Kamida top 3 ga chiqib olishga deb. Nexus Gaming'dan Kapaxala zonaga kirib olishga ulgurmoqda. Woodson hali hamon Game Lord o'yinchilarini chek qilib turibdi. Kirishga bermoqchi emas, albatta tekshirish kerak, chunki agar kirib olishsa ham Game Lord o'yinchilari hozir zonaga Avalanche'ga qiyinchilik tug'dirishligi mumkin. Mana dimlar otib qo'yishmoqda. Narvalov hozir Viktor bilan zonaga harakat qilmoqda. Umumiy jadvalda hozir top 1ga chiqib olishlari mumkin. Yana bir nechta pointlarni agar ishlab olishadigan bo'lsa, Chunki ARRda hozir onlayn jadvalimizda 151 point, u keyingi kartagacha o'zgarmaydi. Narvali, Viktor ham yopilib ketishi mumkin. Avalanche o'yinchilari buni amalga yopilib ketishmoqda. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas va katta ehtimol bilan top 2 da qolishadigan bo'ldi. Game Lord o'yinchilari. Kuzatamiz, qani VIRTUS.PRO yoki Major Pride o'yinchilari to'rga 3 fight bo'ladi. Bu bo'lsa ham ushbu fight. Game Lord va ARRda 151 pointdan bo'ladigan bo'ldi. Major Pride hali imkoniyatlar bor top 3 ga chiqib olishga. Agar top 3 ga chiqib olishadigan bo'lsa, excuse me, avtomatik tarzda top 4 ga tushadi. Eslatib o'tamiz, ARR bundan keyingi kartani ham o'tkazib yuborishadi. To'g'ri, bu kartani tezlik bilan yopilib ketishdi, ya'ni top 15 da yopilib ketishdi va hozirda keyingi kartamiz bo'lishi kerak bo'lgan Miramarda ular o'ynashmaydi. Excuse me esa qo'shilishadi. Excuse me chunki bu kartamizni o'tkazib yuborishgan edi. Ko'ramiz qani kuzatamiz. DMR va Nexus Gaming sololari qani top nechigacha yashay olishadi. VIRTUS.PRO'da to'liq tarkib, Avalanche'da 3 ta o'yinchi. Kapaqalani hali paytagani yo'q Avalanche o'yinchisi. Kartamizning 6-zonasi tez orada yurishni boshlaydi. 5 ta jamoa, 12 ta o'yinchi borligini ko'rish mumkin kartamizda va ular top 1 uchun kurashmoqda. Top 1 va kerakli albatta bo'lgan pointlar uchun. Ana Nomi pozitsiyasiga hozir kirib kelayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. O'tkazilgan holatiga keltira oldi Nomi. Ortiqcha harakat qilmaslikka harakat qiladi. Yen tomonidan ajoyib otilgan qayishga hozir Polly va single nok holatiga keltirdi. Yopilib ketishmoqda VIRTUS.PRO bir zoomda. Eslatib o'tamiz, VIRTUS.PRO hozir top 5 da yopilib ketishmoqda 4 donigina pointlar bilan. Major Pride juda ham yaxshi, ajoyib harakat qilishdi. Tezroq o'z jamoadoshlarini ko'tarib olishadi. Ko'tarib olishga ulgurishdi ham. Hisobligiga tezlik bilan 4 ta pointni yozib qo'yishdi. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. DMR o'yinchisi oxirgi a'zosi Discream va Nexus Gamingdan Kapaqalani ham namoyish etishmoqda. 9 ta kill Kapaqalada. To'g'ri, Kapaqala va uning jamoasida va Major Pride uni ham kill sifatida o'ziga yozib qo'yishmoqda. 9 ta kill bilan hozir ota ehtimol bilan top 1 ni qo'liga kiritishligi mumkin. Major Pride ko'ramiz. Avalanche'da ham yaxshi imkoniyatlar. Ular 8 ta killni ishlashga ulgurishgan. Allaqachon va ular ham albatta top 1 ni qo'lga kiritishlarini xohlab qolgan bo'lardik. Ko'ramiz 3-3-1 hozir o'yinchilar bo'yicha. Major Pride'dan Monkey hozir Discreamdan yaxshi ayashga bo'lishi mumkin. Hali hamon Avalanche o'yinchisiga mana yana Hayeshka nok holati. Discream shunchaki Avalanche o'yinchisini qo'liga ushlatib qo'ydi Hayeshkani. Va nok holatiga keltirdi bitta o'yinchini. Ko'ramiz Discream ikkinchi o'yinchini topa oladimi yoki yo'q. Shunchaki hozir dabit qilish uchun Hayeshka otilib qo'yilmoqda. Keyingi o'yinchini topish birozgina qiyin bo'ladi. Ikkinchi Hayeshka ham otildi dabit qilish uchun bo'lgan va lekin hozircha samarasiz. Major Pride o'yinchilari va nihoyat mana agressiya namoyish etishmoqda. Monkey hozir signal chalib harakat qilmoqda bagida. Ko'ramiz. Major Pride, Avalanche va DMR o'yinchilari sheriklarni ko'tara olishadimi yoki yo'q? Ko'tarib olishdi, tahsinga sazovor. Yaxshi harakat qilishdi. Monkey hozir bu harakatlar voy bo'lib tugashi mumkin. DMRdan Discream esa nima qilmoqda hozir zonadan tashqarida u turibdi. zonaga kirib olishi kerak va eng qizig'i qanaqa qilib zonaga kirib oladi. Mana Woodson Discrim haqida ma'lumotga ega bo'lgan bo'lsa ajab emas. Monkey u ham e'tiborni chalg'itadi Discrim tomonga qayerishga va bo'ldi. Bu tugadi. Discrimni topishdi. Woodson bu kartamizda Discrimni yo'q qilmoqda va top 3 ga yo'llab qo'ymoqda. Yaxshi, DMR o'yinchisi bitta o'zi bo'lsa-da harakat qilib yaxshi harakat top 3 ni qo'liga kiritdi. Major Pride bitta nuqtani amalga oshirishmoqda Avalanche tomoniga. Boramiz, kuzatamiz. Qani ikkinchi o'yinchi ham nok debit qilishdi. 2 fight. Ortiqcha harakat qilishlari o'zlariga ham zarar bo'lishi mumkin Major Pride'dan. Buni albatta bilgan holatda agressiv bo'lmagan, bir me'yorda bo'lgan pushni amalga oshirishga harakat qilishmoqda. Nominok holatida buni debit qilishga harakat qilishadimi? Yo'q, hozircha yen bilan duel uchun harakat qilishmoqda. Avalanche o'yinchisi hozir qanaqa o'yin ko'rsatdi, qanaqa harakat qildi. Monkey bu vaziyatda o'z jamoasi uchun yana bir clutchni ishlab to'pni qo'lga kiritadimi? Yo'q, Avalanche uchun bu to'p bir tabriklab qolamiz. Yaxshi o'yin ko'rsatishdi. Major Pride ham xuddi shunaqa. Mana siz o'sha kutgan o'yinchilar o'zbek tashkiloti jamoasi to'pni qo'lga kiritmoqda. Taksinga sazovor. Va to'p 1 hozir Major Pride top 2 kichkinagina bo'lsa xatoga yo'l qo'yishdi, ortiqcha harakat qilib qo'yishdi Major Pride o'yinchilari. Shuni hisobiga nok va top 2 bo'lmoqda. Tabriklab qolamiz. Keyingi karta uchun kichkinagina tanaffus qilib olamiz va yana qaytamiz.
Your order is here.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Doing it again. Cheeky interpretive dance. A very important win for Avalanche here as they get themselves very important points to try and push on towards that final. They were down towards the bottom, but this will bump them up just a little bit. First things first though, Max, before we talk about this game, we've got all the socials to talk about here with not only Instagram, not only YouTube, not only TikTok, not only Facebook. There's so many socials, and screenshot right now. Get yourself into the QR code. Use the hashtag PMPL as well. Don't screenshot Max's stupid face, though. That was...
You're going to have to screenshot it. It's close enough to the QR code. You'll have to have my face in it. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll be in the screenshot. Ooh. It's cute skin, though. Ooh. Get the... Use the code. Do it.
Yeah. Yes, go and use the code. Fantastic stuff. Max, you'd look great in that skin, actually. Just in real life.
Yes. I'm not at all redeeming it right now. Give me...
No, I don't mean in-game.
Okay. In real life?
Yeah.
I already have that one. What do you mean? I don't have to redeem it. I got like a full set of that one. I look great. Okay. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about this game because, well, I've got mixed feelings here, Max, as we take a look at the Max rank.
These two games today, we've had mixed feelings so far on the two matches played. It's been interesting, but as you said, I mean, only two teams will not make into the finals, and Avalanche was in that spot. Before this, on the overall rankings, they were in 17th position with a total of 125 points. This normally should push them up in 16th position, so just barely enough to be able to make into the finals. So these 22 points are going to be so important for them. And Major Pride, if I knew Monkey was going to get rezzed, I would have predicted them, but yeah.
And Avalanche pipped them at the post here as we take a look a little bit further down. Again, you know, John was correct. I did, in those boxes, right? VIRTUS.PRO, come at me, all of you, it's time. And quite honestly, it could have been time, but it wasn't time at all. I can't predict them again, unfortunately. But anyway, let's take a look at Avalanche and Major Pride. Major Pride was truly the benefactors of the VIRTUS.PRO's push, in inverted commas, here.
Was a push? They walked up.
Something did happen. Yeah.
They just found himself in a very nadeable little building, and then the nades came out for Major Pride, and then VIRTUS.PRO disappeared, just like by magic. It was very surprising. And Usted did it too during that game because they were playing God Compound. Before that, there was Dagestan. They was fighting the side of it was fighting the side of Mad Balls. So they should have been typically a lot of utility. The fact that they just sent it without anything to like facilitate that push, yeah, that was not how to breach, ladies and gentlemen. Do not do that.
Look how defeated my little face is.
I saw it.
All right, look, I just want...
Little puppy eyes.
I just want you to get one win on the board. This could have been the opportunity. It was golden. And then it all melted away. But anyway, let's take a look at the highlights here from Erangel. As technically speaking, with this location that we were kind of focusing in on, Max, we actually have seen the likes of Duarte win games here. They did a big send through to the middle. Didn't quite materialize, but Discrim was instrumental at almost ending Avalanche's opportunities towards the end.
I don't understand why Duarte didn't stick as a three-man where they were, because it was a central position. It is a position that they, as you said, won in the past, so they could have potentially won it. They sent Happy J right here, and then Malloy is like hundreds of meters away when he was initially in the circle in a very solid spot. So I do not understand the reason why. It's not like the teams up there were posing any serious threat to your position. And actually, we see it later on because Avalanche get in that exact position and they just obliterate the teams that are remaining up north, specifically Game Lord. So yeah, I think this could have been a potential Duarte win, but it seemed like they wanted to stretch themselves a little bit too thinly and did get punished. And well, as Blank said in that game, you're very visible on those stairs, Game Lord. So yeah, I didn't expect them to survive that one versus Avalanche.
Well, as you can see here, those nades that I was previously mentioning, they did manage to get them back up and get good to go. And you know, a boogie was also instrumental here in being able to finish off Major Pride alongside it. A lot of clipping shots here and there. Just being able to slightly catch some of these players next to these trees did work eventually in Avalanche's favor. But you can see there how close it was with Major Pride being able to try and take down almost the very last man there for Avalanche. So it's not too much of a surprise that, you know, people might be backing someone like Major Pride in a circle like this, even when they were only 3 alive. But it will be the DT up at the top here.
But I'm sure if you have Salazar watching, he's got DBS and also a buggy finish. He would be smiling right now. He would be happy watching this. But yeah, Dati, one of the only games I think we're seeing players of Avalanche being like top in terms of eliminations and also damage. And I said it, Woodson, I think, is a player that has been underrated in the past and I think is still a very solid player. It's just we have not seen Avalanche make it pretty much ever in these late game positions, like down to the podium finishes. At least we haven't seen it as often as I would like to with a roster like that, especially with Alicia, right? There's been back-to-back MVP, and like, sure, it's been a long time ago, but individually, these are players that can perform, but it's just the team play is just not present right now. But, you know, a win, as we said, very important for them to hopefully secure their spot in the finals.
Yeah, it has felt in some moments for Avalanche that I'm going to wildly speculate here, but it feels like the team's a little bit disjointed sometimes. The communication has not quite been there for them to be able to push that on. But again, that is speculation. There's no speculation about who's number one, though. It is Major Pride now taking that leapfrog against ARR once again. It's never ending, Max. It's always changing from game to game to game.
Yeah, because it's just so close at the top. I'm loving it. I really prefer this phase compared to phase number one because the top teams that were like pretty much decided already. Here's just big question mark who's going to be the top three after Sunday. And excuse me, they had just a little bit of a taste, Kalaris, of that top three, but now they've already been kicked out by Major Pride, unfortunately. And as we go down just a little bit, Avalanche, you know, as we said, with those points climbing up in 13th position, that could give them a little bit of extra bonus points in the finals if they do make it.
Absolutely, and a little further down, unfortunately for VP, they cannot jump off that 17th spot here. But for Avalanche, as you say, it's a big jump up off the back of getting themselves some points here on Erangel. Now time to head over to our commentators once again for game number 3 of the day.
barchaga yana bir bor assalomu alaykum, qadrli PUBG Mobile muxlislari. Sizlar bilan PMPL o'yinlarini aynan bugungi kunga nisbatan 3-chi o'yinimizni guvohi bo'lmoqdamiz. Miramar kartasi jamoalar o'z spotlariga yetib olishgan, biroz masofada muammo bo'lganligi uchun mana jamoalar transport olib o'z spotlariga endi yetib kelishmoqda. Aynan bu o'yinni kamina ritm sizlar bilan sharhlab boraman. DMR jamoasi o'yinchilari bizga namoyish etilmoqda. Bu jamoa ham ajoyib o'yin ko'rsatayotgan jamoalardan biri. Hozircha hech qanday o'sha first blood, ya'ni birinchi killlar amalga oshirilmagan, hamma jamoa to'liq tarkib bilan harakatlanishmoqda. Albatta Miramar kartasi agar spotlarda yoki rotatsiyada kontestlar bo'lib qolmasa, faytlar bo'lib qolmasa, boshida biroz sokinlik bilan o'tadigan kartalar hisobiga kiradi. Shockwave o'yinchilari aynan o'sha transport orqali rotatsiyalarni amalga oshirishmoqda. Snovix hozir shu biroz o'ziga kerakli bo'lgan lootlarni yig'ib olgan va endi yana o'sha kerakli o'z pozitsiyasiga yo'l olmoqda. GG jamoasi o'yinchilari o'z spotlarida to'liq tarkib bilan Matic bizga namoyish etilmoqda. Kitsun, Mekyu va Tigzi uning sheriklari ayni damda o'zlariga kerakli bo'lgan lootlarni amalga oshirishmoqda. Следите Europe jamoasi o'yinchilari Minas spotini loot qilishmoqda. Ushbu jamoa ham o'zlariga kerakli device'larni yig'ish bilan ovora ayni paytda. Transportlari bor, balki biroz shu transportga yetishmovchilik bo'lishi ham mumkin. Kanina Power o'yinchilari o'z spotlari Los Leonsni loot qilishmoqda. Ularning statistikasini ekraningizni chap tomonida ko'rishingiz mumkin. Pelucci, Abaldui, Agori hamda Fachi. Bundan oldingi bosqichlarimizda aynan Fachi tomonidan ajoyib o'yinlar ko'rsatildi. Hozir GG o'yinchilari tomonidan yonginasidan Shockwave o'yinchilari rotatsiyani amalga oshirishmoqda. Buni payqagan Tigzi hozir o'z transportini save pozitsiyaga olib o'tib qo'yapti. Hozir Tigzini pozitsiyasidan tushunishimiz mumkinki, bu pro zonamiz aynan GG o'yinchilari uchun hozircha uy spoti bo'lib turibdi. Hozir Ryzen'ni transportiga biroz e'tibor qaratildi, adashmasam aynan GG o'yinchilari tomonidan. Hozir ikki jamoa agar xohlashsa, ular o'rtasida fight bo'lib o'tishi mumkin va bu bizga ajoyib kadrlarni taqdim etishi mumkin edi. Buni birozdan keyin bilib olamiz. Следите Europe jamoasi o'yinchilari rotatsiyalarni boshlab yuborishdi. Albatta bu pozitsiya egallash uchun amalga oshirilayotgan rotatsiya tenchik o'z sheriklarini boshlab ketyapti. Ko'ramiz, hozir ular balki aylanib aynan o'sha GG hamda Shockwave o'yinchilari tomoniga borib qolishi ham mumkin. Major Pride o'yinchilari ham aynan ushbu ishni amalga oshirishmoqda. Nomi hamda uni sherigi bir transportda Bigfootda harakatlanayotganini ko'ryapmiz. Monkey rulni boshqarib ketyapti. Qolgan sheriklar esa ularning orqasidan kelayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Hozir Nomi uchun transport topildi. Biroz o'sha transportdan tushish mobaynida o'z jonini yo'qotganini ko'rdik. Dark Project o'yinchilari Elpozoni shundoqqina yonida joylashgan tog' hududlarni egallab olishmoqda. Chayok ushbu o'yinchini shaxsan men bugun birinchi marta ko'rmoqdaman, balki rename bo'lgan bo'lishi mumkin, balki zaxiradagi o'yinchi aynan tarkibga qo'shilib hozir o'yinni davom ettirayotgan bo'lishi mumkin. Wade hozir o'zi uchun juda ham ajoyib bo'lgan pozitsiyani egallamoqda. O'z transportini hozir qulay bo'lgan pozitsiyaga qo'yish bilan ovora. Demuerte jamoasi o'yinchilari hozir Major Pride'ni rotatsiyada biroz muammoga keltirib qo'yishmoqda. Hozir HPG tomoniga ham e'tibor qaratildi Major Pride o'yinchilari tomonidan. Yen o'z yo'nalishini biroz o'zgartirgandek bo'ldi. Mankini hozir juda ham qiyin holatga solib qo'yishmoqda DMRT o'yinchilari. Ko'ramiz, Manki o'z pozitsiyasini tark eta oladimi, lekin juda ham xavfli vaziyat. Aynan uning uchun hozir effekt o'z sherigiga yordam berish maqsadida o'z pozitsiyasini saqlab turibdi. Manki hozir o'z transportida yana rotatsiyasini davom ettirayotganini ko'rdik. Nomi hozir holatga keltirilmoqda Maloy tomonidan. Ajoyib. Maloyning holati ham unchalik yaxshi emas va mana o'z uchun kerakli bo'lgan dimdan hozir u o'ziga biroz bo'lsa ham sev pozitsiyasi edi va ko'ramiz mana jonini tiklab oldi. Bu vaqt ichida esa Milkway Nomini o'z hisobiga yozib qo'ydi. Maloy uchun bu birinchi kill. Aynan bugungi kartamizdan adashmasam hozir bu o'yinimizda birinchi kill amalga oshirildi. Manki va o'z sheriklari bilan rotatsiyani davom ettirishmoqda. Hozir ularning ortidan balki quvish ham mumkin aynan DMR jamoasi. Buni ko'ramiz. Albatta ekraningizni o'ng taraf yuqori burchagida ko'rdingiz. Zona aynan GG jamoasi uchun uy zonasi bo'lib turmoqda. Hozircha Meku o'z pozitsiyasini o'zgartirib pastroqqa tushib olmoqda. Ko'ramiz. Meku hamda Tigzini pozitsiyasiga e'tibor bering. Ular o'z sheriklaridan Mach hamda Kitsundan juda ham uzoqda joylashib turishdi. Hozir juda ham qiyinchiliklarga duch kelishi mumkin agar sheriklari tarafga rotatsiyani amalga oshirishmoqchi bo'lishsa. Dagestan jamoasi o'yinchilari birin-ketin oldim-orqa rotatsiyani amalga oshirishmoqda. Hozircha ularni yo'liga to'g'anoq bo'ladigan birorta ham raqib jamoa yo'q. Past tarafdan yana Power o'yinchilarini ham zonaga harakat boshlab yuborganliklarini ko'rdik. Tigzi hamda mana Meku o'z sheriklari tomoniga ketishyapti-yu, lekin hozir ular aynan Dagestan jamoasi o'yinchilari bilan duch kelib qolishi mumkin-ki, hozir Tigziga agressiya namoyish qiladimi? Tigzi aynan bu vaziyatdan qutulib qola oldi. Meku ko'ramiz, u ham o'tib olishi kerak albatta. Dagestan jamoasi o'yinchilari o'zlari uchun qulay bo'lgan pozitsiya tanlashdi va o'sha yerni egallash bilan ovora bo'lishmoqda. Tigzi hamda Meku esa biroz chaproqdan aylanib o'z sheriklari tomoniga yetib olishlari mumkin ekanliklarini biz ko'rdik. La Cabrera spoti hozir 5 ta, naqd 5 ta jamoa bilan to'lib toshmoqda. Kasik jamoasi o'yinchilari, Dagestan jamoasi o'yinchilari aynan chap qismini egallab turishibdi. Shockwave'ni ko'rdik. Doom jamoasi o'yinchilari hamda Sway jamoasi o'yinchilari ham aynan mana shu pozitsiyaga, mana shu spotga yetib kelishgan. Bu spotda juda ham qaynoq faytlar bo'lib o'tishi kutilmoqda. Dark Project o'yinchilari adashmasam Elpozoni yonginasidagi tog'ni egallab turishdi. 200 ming jamoasi o'yinchisi Havlik transportni portlatilgan holda nok holatiga keltirildi. Hozir yo'q, ikkita o'yinchiga qarshi bir o'zi birinchi nokka keltirdi-yu, lekin uni ikkinchisiga kuchi yetmadi. HPG bu vaziyatda juda ham chiroyli harakat qildi. Ivaneska hozir aynan uni shunday qilib pastida HPG hamda Maloy harakatlanayotganini biladi. Ivaneska tomoniga juda ham yaxshi zajim uchib kelmoqda. Juda ham low HP da qoldi. HPG tomonidan Wade tomoniga uloqtiriladigan xayrishga qanchalik foyda keltiradi, lekin uni sherigi Discream unga hech qanday qiyinchilik tug'diradigan vaziyat qoldirmadi. Va ko'ramiz, bu vaziyatda Dark Project o'yinchilari 2 kishi bo'lib qolib ketishmoqda. Discream Maloy ham kutilmaganda nok holatiga keltirilmoqda. Bu yerda HPG juda ham yaxshi harakat qilib Madnessni nok holatiga keltira oldi. Endi o'z sheriklarini ko'tarishga harakat qilib ko'rsa bo'ladi, lekin Maloyni Ivaneska o'z hisobiga yozib qo'ymoqda. Ivaneskani hozir holati yaxshi emas, aptechkalar ham yo'q ekan. Maloyni hozir biroz loot qilib oladi. Agar u yerdan aptechka topadigan bo'lsa, u o'z jonini to'ldirib olishi mumkin edi, lekin bunga HPG yo'l qo'ymadi. Dark Project o'yinchilarini biz yo'qotdik 14-o'rinda. Juda ham yaxshi. DMRT jamoasi o'yinchilari bitta yo'qotish evaziga o'zlari hisoblariga 5 ta kill yozib qo'yishdi. Albatta bitta shu kill point boshqa jamoa o'yinchilariga nisbatan amalga oshirilgan. Doom jamoasi hamda Sloy Europe jamoasi o'yinchilari o'rtasida fight amalga oshirilmoqda. Sloy jamoasi o'yinchilari bir sheriklaridan ayrilishdi. Excuse me jamoasi o'yinchilari esa rotatsiyani amalga oshirgan holda hozir zonamizni xavfsiz hududiga yetib kelib olishdi. MP Major Pride jamoasi o'yinchilari hozir effektni holatiga tushib qolishi mumkin edi. Mekudan ajoyib zajim ko'rdik-ku, lekin birozgina kamlik qildi. Effekt bu pozitsiyani albatta tezkorlik bilan tark etadi. Hozir o'z sherigi yoniga yetib kelib olmoqda. Mana endi o'z skill pointlarini to'ldirib olishi mumkin. GG jamoasi o'yinchilari hozir zonani o'sha kichik split bilan egallab turishdi. Aynan hozir Major Pride o'yinchilari tomoniga o'z e'tiborlarini qaratishmoqda. Casting, Shockwave, Sly, Doom jamoasi o'yinchilari esa hali hamon La Cabriere spotini egallab turishdi. Albatta endi agar bu jamoalar agressiv harakatlanishni xohlashmasa, bu spotda bemalol vaqt o'tkazishlari mumkin. Toki zona aynan bu spotni tark etmaguncha. Hozir Phantom tomoniga zajim amalga oshirildi. Classic jamoasi o'yinchilari tomonidan ko'ramiz. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari ham aynan bu pozitsiyaga, bu spotga juda ham yaqin kelib olishgan. Shundoqqina ingushni yuqori tarafidagi tog'larni egallab olishibdi va hozir aynan Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari tomoniga agar mana bu yerda harakatlanayotgan o'yinchilardan kimdir ochilib qolsa, yaxshigina jazolanishi mumkin. Phantom ham ma'lumotga ega bo'ldi, aynan o'sha tog' qismida raqib jamoalardan biri o'ynayotgani haqida. Doom jamoasi hisobida bitta kill bor. Goldi, Zeus, Phantom, Mushkilinyo. Hozir Phantom sezmoqda, balki mashinani bor yo'g'i ruin qilib qo'ymoqchi bo'lgandir. Major Pride o'yinchilari hozir Shockwave o'yinchilari egallab turgan pozitsiyaga juda ham yaqin kelib olishmoqda. Hozir Yen yoki Manki juda ham katta damage'larni qabul qilib oldi. Shockwave o'yinchilari o'z pozitsiyalarini himoya qilishlari kerak bo'ladi hozir. Navbatdagi prokimiz ko'ramiz, qaysi jamoa uchun qo'l keladi. Buni bir necha soniyalardan keyin bilib olamiz. Eng ko'p kill qilgan o'yinchilar, adashmasam, Game Lord o'yinchilaridan biri Rox birinchi o'rinni egallab turgan edi. Uzoq masofaga esa Elementrix hozir peshqadamlikni hech kimga boy berayotgani yo'q. Mana endi uzoq masofada Frozen ekan. Bundan oldingisi esa o'sha ko'p damage ko'rsatilgan o'yinchilar ro'yxati edi. Chayokni HPG qay tariqa dabit qilib yuborgani, undan keyingi o'yinchini o'z hisobiga yozib qo'ygani va undan keyingi o'yinchini Dark Project o'yinchilarini aynan HPG juda ham qiyin vaziyatga solib qo'ydi va aynan mana shu vaziyatda juda ham chiroyli harakat qildi. Major Pride o'yinchilari bir amallab birozgina bo'lsa ham xavfsiz hududga kirib olishgan. Shockwave o'yinchilari hozircha ular tomoniga u qadar ham agressiya namoyish qilishmayapti. Foley dabit qilib yuborilmoqda Dageston o'yinchilari tomonidan. Bizga hozir o'sha zonamiz qaysi hududga o'ynaganliklarini ko'rsatishadi. Kasknok holatida Dorin tomonidan, Peluchi tomonidan. Hozir Kask o'yinchilari birma-ketin nok holatiga keltirilmoqda. Kanina Power o'yinchilari esa 2 kishi bo'lib qolib ketishgan, ularning hisobida 2 ta kill bor. Hozir aynan Kask jamoasi o'yinchilari ham Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari tomonidan, ham Kanina Power o'yinchilari tomonidan o'qqa tutildi. Peluchini qarshisida VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari harakatlanishmoqda. Classic jamoasi o'yinchisi Classic hozir nok holatida, 12 sherigi esa hozircha uni ko'tara olmaydi. Unicorn bunga harakat qilib ko'rmoqchi. Bu qanchalik to'g'ri bo'ladi yoki noto'g'ri ko'ramiz. Unicorn o'z sherigiga biroz yaqinlashib kelib oldi va hozir endi u o'ziga qulay bo'lgan yo'l orqali o'z sherigiga harakatni davom ettirmoqda. Menimcha ko'tarib olishning imkoni bo'ladi. Baldoy hamda Peluchi hozir o'zlariga kerak bo'lgan pozitsiyalarni egallab turishdi. Meko esa DMRT jamoasiga o'z e'tiborini qaratmoqda. DMRT jamoasi o'yinchilari hozir zonani xavfsiz hududini shundoqqina qirg'og'ida turishdi, chetida turishdi. Bundan Meko'ning xabari bor albatta. Va mana Kaskini ko'tarib oldi Unicorn. Ularning shundoqqina yonginlarida esa Kanina Power o'yinchilari harakatlanishmoqda. Ko'ramiz, o'yinimiz hozir juda ham qizg'in palasiga yetib keladi albatta, chunki zonamiz qisqarib boradi va barcha jamoalar bir-biriga yaqinlashib pozitsiya egallashga harakat qilib ko'rishadi. Bu vaqt ichida o'sha faytlar ketma-ketligi bo'lib o'tishi mumkin. Discream hamda Milky Way. Ko'ramiz ular zonaga qay tariqa kirib olishar ekan. Matic esa Yuol jamoasi o'yinchilari haqida ma'lumotga ega bo'lmoqda. Hozir Michino holatiga keltirib qo'yilishi mumkin edi Matic tomonidan. Ajoyib taplarni ko'rdik aynan uning ijrosida minik orqali. Kitsun ham shu Maticni biroz pastida harakatlanayotganini ko'rmoqdamiz va ular hozir katta ehtimol bilan yo'l jamoasi o'yinchilari tomoniga o'z e'tiborlarini qaratishadi va o'z agressiyalarini namoyish etishadi. Albatta, yo'l jamoasi o'yinchilarining pozitsiyalari juda ham yaxshi emas va buni sezayotgan yo'l jamoasi o'yinchilari ushbu pozitsiyani tark etish harakatidadir. Balki bunga esa G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari yo'l qo'yishadimi? Hozir yo'l jamoasi o'yinchisi tomonidan uloqtirilgan Hayeshka Tigzining holatiga keltirilmoqda. Beast esa uni dabit ham qilib yuborishi mumkin. Va Tigziga hech kim yordamlashmayapti, uni hech kim qo'riqlayotgani yo'q. Albatta, hozir shoshqaloqlik evaziga amalga oshirilgan bu xato G.G jamoasi o'yinchilariga qimmatga tushishi mumkin. Tigzini ko'tarib olishning albatta iloji yo'q. Kitsun ham o'z pozitsiyasini o'zgartirishga endi majbur bo'ladi. Yo'l jamoasi o'yinchilari esa bu vaziyatda juda ham yaxshi harakat qilishda aynan Zero o'z hisobiga Tigzini yozib qo'ymoqda va bu Hayeshkadan amalga oshirilgan birinchi kill. Michinok holatida Matik tomonidan dabit ham qilib yuborildi va barobar shu ikki jamoa o'rtasida bittadan o'yinchilarni o'z hisobiga yozib qo'yishdi. Lekin hozir Unicorn jamoasi o'yinchilari zonaning xavfsiz hududiga kirib olishlari kerak. G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari esa shu birozgina yaqinroq turishdi zonaning xavfsiz hududiga. Major Pride hamda Shockwave o'yinchilari juda ham bir-birlariga yaqin turishdi, lekin Major Pride'da undan ham oldin hozir Mekyu tomoniga amalga oshirilayotgan zajim HPG tomonidan juda ham yaxshi chiqdi-yu, lekin Mekyu o'zini xavfsiz pozitsiyaga olib qochishga ulgurdi. HPG'ni holatiga keltirildi. Kitsun tomonidan dabit ham qilib yuborilsa kerak. Ulgurmadi. Doom jamoasi o'yinchisi Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari tomonidan holatiga keltirilmoqda. HPG'ni hozir ko'tarib olishning imkoni bo'ladimi? Hozircha shoshmayapti. HPG esa aynan shundoqqina Major Pride jamoasi o'yinchilari yonidan o'tib ketayotganini ko'rdik. Yo'l jamoasi o'yinchilari yopilib ketishmoqda. Bu ishni esa Sly jamoasi o'yinchilari amalga oshirishdi. Mandarin tomonidan uloqtirilgan Hayeshka yo'l jamoasi o'yinchilarini yopilib ketishiga olib keldi. Juda ham qiziq faytlar ketma-ketligi boshlandi. G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari ham aynan mana shu pozitsiyaga kirib kelishmoqda. Hozir aynan ular Sly jamoasiga qarshi faytni amalga oshirishadi. Hozir Kitsunok holatida Shockwave o'yinchisi tomonidan dabit ham qilib yuborildi. Endi G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari 2 kishi bo'lib qolib ketishmoqda. Ko'ramiz Major Pride jamoasi o'yinchilari shundoqqina yonginasida joylashib turganda Moyate jamoasi o'yinchilari hisobida nok bor. Discream ham nok holatida bir o'yinchini dabit qilib yuborishdi. Discreamni hozircha ko'tarib olishning imkoni yo'q, lekin uni sherigi o'z yelkasiga olib o'zi uchun qulay pozitsiya qidirib topdi va mana endi Discreamni ko'tarib olishning imkoni bor. Milkway bu vaziyatda juda ham chiroyli harakat qildi. Major Pride o'yinchilari esa hozircha shoshmayapti. Ular shu o'yin boshida Nomini yo'qotishdi. Hozircha hisoblarda kill yo'q. G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari zonani shundoqqina chetida hozir harakatlanishmoqda va hozir navbatdagi prog zonamizni ko'rishimiz mumkin bo'ladi. Backnock holatida single tomonidan Shockwave o'yinchilari ma'lumotga ega, taxminiy ma'lumotga ega. Shu sababli Ryzen hozir o'z e'tiborini aynan o'sha tarafga qaratib turibdi. Bekni ko'tarib olishning imkoni bor ekan, sheriklari bunga harakat qilishsa bo'lgani. Navbatdagi zonamiz esa qaysi tomonga o'ynar ekan? Hozir deyarli 2 sekunddan keyin buni bilib olamiz. Dagestan jamoasi o'yinchilari hozir Excuse me jamoasi o'yinchilari tomoniga o'z e'tiborlarini qaratishayotganini ko'rdik. Zona shunchaki qisqardi, hech qaysi tarafga qarshi amalga oshirgani yo'q. Dagestan jamoasi o'yinchilari hozir killlar bo'yicha peshqadamlikda turishda 3 ta kill o'z hisoblariga yozib qo'yishgan. Ko'ramiz. Hozir G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari zonaning xavfsiz hududiga kirib olishlari kerak-ku, lekin ularning oldida chap tarafdan harakat qilishsa Sly jamoasi o'yinchilari turibdi. Agar o'ng tarafdan kirishsa Shockwave o'yinchilari turishdi. Ko'ramiz bu vaziyatda Mekyu hamda Matik qay tariqa harakatlanishadi. Excuse me jamoasi o'yinchilari esa kutib o'tirishgani yo'q. Hozir to'g'ri Nexus Gaming egallab turgan pozitsiyaga yaqinlashib olishmoqda. Bek yana nok holatiga keltirilmoqda. Black ham nok holatiga keltirildi. Faqat bu ishni Dagestan jamoasi o'yinchilari amalga oshirishmoqda. O'z hisoblariga killni yozib qo'yishdi. Black bizning o'yinimizni tark etdi va Keep Bekni ham o'z hisobiga yozib qo'ymoqda. Doom jamoasi o'yinchilari Magic'ni nok holatiga keltirishmoqda. Magic'ni yonida albatta Meku bor edi. Hozir uni ko'tarib olishning imkoni bo'ladimi? Yo'q. Xitoy jamoasi o'yinchilari Matikni tabit qilib yuborishdi. Endi Meku bir o'zi harakatlanishga majbur bo'ladi. Qaysi jamoasi o'yinchisi Ingush Zeusni nok holatiga keltirdi. Meku esa sabrsiz harakatlanib hozir keyingi pozitsiyaga o'tib oldi. Snovix albatta bundan xabardor. Zeusni tabit qilib yubordi Ingush. Dakiston jamoasi o'yinchilari 5 ta kill pointlarni o'z hisoblariga yozib qo'yishdi. Demuerti jamoasi o'yinchilarida ham xuddi shuncha kill pointlar bor. Faqat Demuerti jamoasi o'yinchilari 2 kishi bo'lib harakatlanishmoqda. Mekuni hozir Hashiba juda ham chiroyli tarzda kutib oldi. Albatta kutmagan edi Meku bu pozitsiyada raqib jamoasi o'yinchilaridan biri borligini. Xitoy jamoasi o'yinchilari endi bemalol shu orqa taraflari tozaliklariga ishonch hosil qilib, zonani yana shu o'rtarog'iga harakat qilishlari mumkin. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari juda ham yaxshi pozitsiyani egallab turishdi aynan bu zonamizga nisbatan. Ularning hisoblarida kill pointlar yo'q ekan hozircha. Lekin o'yinimiz oxirigacha, yakunigacha albatta ular to'liq tarkib bilan harakatlanishmoqda. Kill pointlarni yozib qo'yishlari mumkin. Xitoy jamoasi o'yinchilari o'z hisoblariga 4 ta kill point yozib qo'yishdi. Mandarin hamda Hashiba ikkalaligiga hozir harakatlanishmoqda. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari Excuse Me jamoasi tomoniga agressiya namoyish qilib harakatlanib kelishdi. Xavlik yonmoqda. Hozir ko'ramiz, u biroz shu xavfsiz pozitsiyaga o'tib oldi. Dorin juda ham yaxshi hozir Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari aynan Furiyani nok holatiga keltirishmoqda. Vaziyatda Kimi juda ham yaxshi harakat qildi. Xavlik nima qila oladi? 4 ga 1 o'zi. Hozir juda ham yaxshi, lekin baribir son jihatidan ustunlik Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari tomonida edi. Shu sababli Excuse Me jamoasi o'yinchilarini yopib yuborishmoqda. Bu haqida ma'lumotga ega bo'lgan Dakiston jamoasi o'yinchilari esa aynan o'z e'tiborlarini Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari tomoniga qaratishdi. Hozircha ularni xavfsiz zonalari bor, lekin navbatdagi zona ham hozir amalga oshiriladi. Ko'ramiz, qaysi jamoaga bu zona qo'l kelishi mumkin. To'liq Lakabreren o'z ichiga olib turgan ushbu zona yana shunchaki kichraydi. Hozir ajoyib faytlar ketma-ketligi bo'ladi, chunki Lakabrereda shu compoundlar ko'pligini hisobiga barcha jamoalar yaxshigina harakatlanishi mumkin. Yen nok holatida Demuerti o'yinchisi tomonidan David ham qilib yuborildi. Manki hamda Efek 2 kishi bo'lib qolib ketishmoqda. Ko'ramiz, ular qay tarafga harakatlanishar ekan. Hozir aynan Shockwave, Sly, Doom, Major Pride o'yinchilarida zona yo'q, shu sababli ular zonani xavfsiz hududiga kirishga majbur bo'lishadi. Shockwave o'yinchisidan biri Ryzen zonani xavfsiz hududiga kirib olgan ekan va u sheriklarini o'zi tomoniga chorlashi mumkin. Ko'ramiz hozir. Azer Xitoy jamoasi o'yinchilari haqida taxminiy ma'lumotga ega. Juda ham yaxshi harakatlanishmoqda Shockwave o'yinchilari. To'g'ri, albatta kill pointlari kam. Bittagina kill point bor shu jamoada. Hozir Ryzen holatiga keltirildi. Demuerti o'yinchilari tomonidan hozir terminus ajoyib tarzda Hashipani tutib oldi dimlar orasidan. Bu albatta taxminiy amalga oshirilgan zajrim edi va u omad keltirdi. Hashipan esa Doom jamoasi o'yinchisi Phantom o'z hisobiga yozib qo'ymoqda. Doom jamoasi o'yinchilari bu vaziyatda juda ham yaxshi harakat qildi. Goldinok holatida Kasik jamoasi o'yinchisi Kasik tomonidan Mandarin bir o'zi qolib ketmoqda. Ko'ramiz, juda ham qiziq pallalar yetib kelmoqda. Terminus hozir o'z sheriklarini dim bilan ta'minlab berdi va endi o'z sheriklari xavfsiz hududga harakatlanishi mumkin. Ingush hozir bu yerda Doom jamoasi o'yinchilariga qarshi kurash olib borishmoqda. Kasik jamoasi o'yinchilari Phantom qo'lida xayashga bu qanchalik foyda keltiradi? Foyda keltirgani yo'q, lekin Kasik bu yerda Phantomni nok holatiga keltirdi. Doom jamoasi o'yinchilari 2 kishi bo'lib qolib ketishmoqda va bu faytda 3-2 harakat qilishadi. Mandarini yopib yubormoqda Xitoy jamoasi o'yinchilarini. Vaziyatda hozir Kasik jamoasi o'yinchilari juda ham yaxshi harakatlanishmoqda. Golzi hamda Mushkilinyo hozir 3-2 payt amalga oshirishadi. Zonani xavfli hududi yurishni boshladi. Kasik jamoasi o'yinchilari shunchaki hozir Doom jamoasi o'yinchilarini o'sha zonaning xavfsiz hududiga amalga oshirilayotgan harakatlar mobaynida kutib olishi mumkin bo'ladi. Unicorn hozir shunaqa ularni tagida harakatlanmoqda. Kasik tomonidan uloqtirilgan qayerga Mushkilinyoni ajoyib tarzda nok holatiga keltirdi. Goldi bu vaziyatda qanday harakat qiladi? Hozir unga ko'tarib olish uchun imkon berishadimi? Unicorn hamda adashmasam Ingush bu pozitsiyaga kirib kelishdi. Ko'ramiz, Kenyan Power o'yinchilari hozir Shockwave o'yinchilariga birma-ketma nokni amalga oshirishmoqda. Imkon berishmoqda hozir mushkilini ko'tarib olishga va yana endi Doom o'yinchilari 2 kishi bo'lib harakatni davom ettirishadi. Nimaga kirishmadi? Ingush hamda Unicorn balki kirishganda Doom jamoasi o'yinchilarini yopib yuborishgan bo'lishardi. Mushkilini hozir pastga tushib oldi. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilarini aynan Classic kontrol qilib turibdi. Hozir Dorin tomoniga amalga oshirilgan zajim birozgina aniq bo'lmaganligi sababli hech qanday xavf tug'dirmadi. Unicorn holatida Goldi tomonidan hozir nahotki Doom jamoasi o'yinchilari aynan bu paytda g'olib chiqib qolishi ham mumkin. Juda ham yaxshi mushkilino. Hozir Classic jamoasi o'yinchilariga birma-ketma nok amalga oshirdi. Endi birga bir fight ko'ramiz. Classic bu vaziyatda qanday harakat qiladi? Hozir birozgina yetishmadi mushkilinoga. Classic bu vaziyatda juda ham chiroyli harakat qildi. Lekin bir o'zi qolib ketdi. Offhaze hozir Octavianni hozir Hayesh orqali nok holatiga keltirdi. Terminus esa Shockwave o'yinchilar, Nexus Gaming o'yinchilaridan birini nok holatiga keltirdi. Adashmasam, Dakistan jamoasi o'yinchilari hozir hisobida bitta nok bor, uni ko'tarishmoqda. Shockwave o'yinchilari esa ular tomoniga harakatlanib kelishmoqda. Ryzen juda ham yaqin kelib olganligini ko'rdik. Ko'ramiz. Shifu yana nok holatida Terminus tomonidan. Ana endi balki agressiya o'sh, Kip ham nok holatida Acer tomonidan dabit ham qilib yuborilmoqda Shifu. Shockwave o'yinchilari juda ham chiroyli harakatlanishmoqda. Classic tomonidan Nexus Gaming o'yinchisi nok holatiga keltirilganligini ko'rdik chatimizda. Limba Boom hozir nok holatiga kelib qolishi mumkin. Ryzen tomonidan nok holatiga keltirdi-yu, lekin Ryzen ham nokni qabul qilib oldi. Juda ham yaxshi harakat qilmoqda bu vaziyatda Zadira. Bir o'zi qolib ketgan, juda ham low HP larda Terminus hozir uni yopib yuborish ham mumkin. Lekin u avval o'z jonini to'ldirib oldi, sherigini ko'tarish harakatini boshlab yubordi. Zadirani esa PMPL yopib yubormoqda VIRTUS.PRO jamoasi o'yinchilaridan biri. Peluchi tomonidan uloqtiriladigan Hayeshga hozir yana Shockwave o'yinchilarini holatiga keltirib qo'yishi mumkin edi, lekin bu holat amalga oshmadi. Hozir aynan navbatdagi Hayeshga balki yana aynan bu pozitsiyaga yetib kelsa, Shockwave o'yinchilaridan birini nok holatiga keltirib qo'yishi mumkin. Bizda esa bu vaqtga kelib top-to'r o'ynalmoqda. Kenyan Power, Shockwave, Nexus Gaming hamda VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari aynan top 1 uchun kurashni amalga oshirishadi. Nexus Gaming hamda VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari 3 kishi bo'lib harakatlanishmoqda. Qolgan 2 jamoa esa Shockwave, Kenyan Power jamoalari esa 2 kishi bo'lib harakatlanishmoqda. Ko'ramiz. Kenyan Power hozir o'yinchilarning pozitsiyasi qay tarzda ularga qo'l keladi. Peluchi tomonidan Acer nok holatiga keltirildi va dabit ham qilib yuborildi. Abaldu esa Terminusni yopib yubormoqda o'z Hayeshkas orqali. Kenyan Power o'yinchilari bu vaziyatda juda ham chiroyli harakat qilishdi. Shockwave o'yinchilari esa top-to'rni egallab bizning o'yinimizni yakunlashmoqda. Peluchini dabit qilib yubordi Kimi. Abaldu esa zonadan tark etdi o'yinimizni 3-o'rinda. Kenyan Power o'yinchilari o'yinlarini yakunlashdi. Top 1 uchun kurash aynan 3 ga 3 bo'lib o'tadi. Bu juda ham chiroyli albatta. Lekin Nexus Gaming o'yinchilarida pozitsiya juda ham yaxshi emas edi. Shu sababli hozir ular qiyinchilikka duch kelishmoqda va VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari bu vaziyatda juda ham chiroyli harakatlanib top 1 ni qo'lga kirishmoqda. Ushbu jamoani hamda ushbu jamoa muxlislarini aynan egallangan top 1 bilan tabriklaymiz. Bizda esa navbatdagi o'yinimiz albatta bizni kutib turibdi. Aynan bu o'yinda sizlar bilan biroz daqiqalardan so'ng ko'rishamiz.
Very clearly here at PMPL, the fight back is on. VIRTUS.PRO redeem themselves a little bit after the previous situation and get themselves a win on the board. Joining me, Max Man, to talk about this one. Max, a city finish. It can all go pear-shaped for a lot of these teams, and it can get a little bit topsy-turvy in terms of those predictions, but VP does it.
You would have told me with a Cobreria finish at the start of this game, I would say, okay, that's going to be a Gladiators win. But they got hunted down by, I think, like 5-6 teams that got there very early, and they just didn't have the space to go back in the city. So, no, they got hunted away, didn't quite make it back in. And VIRTUS.PRO, I mean, you were saying it during that game, Kalaris. They had a good position, surrounded by roads. It was looking pretty good really early on for a city finish for them.
You know, I'll say it word for word what I said to you, Max. I said, VP has the best spot, but I can't pick them because ultimately they disappointed me in the previous game. Now they've been able to convert from this. But as you can see, when you look at these numbers from a city finish, eliminations, even for Shockwave, 7, overall, very low, very spread out. That's the nature of these city finishes. You don't get teams getting a huge bomb off the back of it. So I'm going to make the call that is going to be probably the lowest points win we're going to see all tournament long. Just 13 points for that #1 spot.
Yeah, for city finish, I'm not too surprised. So we'll see how that's going to be potentially panning out if we have other city finishes. I think you were right too. This seems like the only city finish we've had this event so far, which is weird. I'd expect to maybe have some Los Leones finishes or something like that. But yeah, 3 limbs, pretty low for chicken dinner, but still going to put them in a better spot. That means that they hopefully can escape the bottom 2 spots where they will not make it into the finals. So that's going to be their objective for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, Shockwave, I also mentioned during that game, they were sweeping quite a few teams up on the northern side. They got rid of players from Sly, from Gladiators, also Major Pride. So they were actually taking some really decent fights. Unfortunately, as you keep pushing deeper inside the city, you're going to start losing players left, right, and center. Making it in that late game finish as a 4-man for Shockwave was a really hard task. So I wasn't expecting a win, but they got a limbs while they were still up.
Yeah, if you get a circle going north towards train yard, then sure, you can actually make that work. So I will say that for Shockwave, kudos to them for trying to make this work, but as soon as you hit roads in the middle of these cities, you're going to have a really rough time. It is nigh on impossible to make those crosses if people are actually looking their way. And that's kind of why Nexus felt a little bit fortunate almost that Kazakh team was eliminated in the moment that they were, because for a long time Kazakh team was laser focused on the idea of Nexus trying to cross that road, but then they were eliminated. So that was good times for Nexus.
I would say Nexus was lucky that their side of the road was in play for as long as it was, right until, I believe, phase 8. So the last real phase, the last real circle pop, they were still alive. And then all of the other teams started going down one another, taking down one another. So they were just still left alive as a 3-man team, and they could make that cross a lot easier because teams were just so busy on one another at the time. They could just smoke the road, make the cross happen. VIRTUS.PRO didn't really pose that much of a threat while crossing the road, but they do win the final fight eventually. But yeah, so the stars did kind of align for Nexus to be in that situation, and also did a lot of initial scouting at first to make sure they had that space to work with. So no, good setups on Nexus, and short, no chicken dinner, but still a really good attempt in one game that's not easy to get in the position they ended up in.
Yeah, that's the one boon that they have, right? The fact that they were really the only team with Nexus on that south side of that road. So as you say, they've got a lot of time to work with information, everything like that. But VIRTUS.PRO here locking down that compound, good to go. Only 3 eliminations going their way, but a win is a win. Let's check in with VIRTUS.PRO here after this victory.
Stands up, finds Flyky though. English really caught out in the open, but there's a trade-off coming through. VIRTUS.PRO stopping Ozorox in their tracks, and they leave Ozorox down and out as well. It's HVVP. Finally eliminated, and now just the one player from Death Machine. Korka spotted, Nexus steps up around the back, has the knock onto Old Boy, but doesn't have any more.
Есть какая-то ЛГХ, первый нок по Харакири проходит, и добивание от Пучка, но нет, Пучок также оказывается в ноке, и все-таки оффхейт. Вика и его команду, но не тут-то было, минус жебрет, и Вик не смог, к сожалению, перестрелять Пепла.
Okay, that was a historical reference down memory lane for a lot of VIRTUS.PRO, of course, as, you know, times have changed and things like that. But we did get to see purple towards the end here on previous rosters and stuff. But let's actually speak seriously here for a moment, though, Max, because for the teams like Avalanche, like VIRTUS.PRO, down towards the bottom here, these wins are actually extremely important to try and get themselves up the rankings a bit.
Especially for VIRTUS.PRO, I think these last 2 matches, this might be the reason why you see VIRTUS.PRO potentially make it into the finals. So as you said, very important games for them. And we're seeing it super close towards the top. It's also pretty close towards the bottom. So just one really strong performance could be your ticket for the finals. So these could be really these big important games when we look back in the finals.
Definitely, definitely. And right, now we turn our attention to what is to come. We will be having up towards the top still Major Pride. AR still up there. Game Lord trying to scratch that itch and get themselves to #1. Just a few points behind here, Max.
I love it. Game Lord's just been idle in that top 3, and all the other teams have been moving around, but they've always been stuck in that top 3 position, which is a spot I'd like to see Game Lord in right now. But Nexus, that's going to also bump them up pretty significantly. Now pushing him up in that top 5, which I would say after the initial dominant showcase in Phase 1, had a little bit of a downgrade. They didn't really show up too big, but now in that top 5 position in the second phase so far, I'm happy to see Nexus back up there, as Gladiators has been slipping a little bit, surprisingly now on that second page.
Yep, not really too much gone their way in some of these games, unfortunately, for them. And again, as you say, with a circle kind of being the home turf advantage, losing people early, trying to come in on the north side of those kind of train tracks and train yard, not easy for them to make something happen in this game. But what is easy is for you to reach into that fridge, grab yourself a cheeky cold Monster Energy and get yourself ramped up, good to go for the games ahead. Huge thank you to them for joining us here for PMPL. Now, time to head over to the commentators for the penultimate game of the day. Let's head over to John and Blank.
Bizda esa navbatdagi kartamiz, ya'ni sanov kartasi start olganini ko'rishingiz mumkin. Sanov kartasida birinchi jamoani yo'qotishga ham ulgurdik. Bu bo'lsa ham Doom jamoasi o'yinchilari bo'lishmoqda. Tezkorlik bilan bu kartamizni tark etishda afsuski. Va hozirda ko'rishimiz mumkin Bekani oldiga hozir aynan o'sha Kanina Power o'yinchilari yaqinlashib qolishganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Menimcha taxminiy ma'lumot bor Beka haqida. Va ko'ramiz qani mana Elementrix yaqinlashayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Bekaga yordamga albatta. Bu yerdan aynan shu spotga Game Lord o'yinchilari kirib kelishayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Agressiv harakat qilishmoqda. Adashmasam bu Nexus Gaming o'yinchilarining spotlari edi va bu kartani ular o'tkazib yuborishadi. Shuni hisobiga jamoalari birozgina bo'lsa-da erkinroq harakat qilishmoqda bu spotda va mana bu harakat hozir Bekaga yaxshi imkoniyat bo'lishi mumkin jamoadoshlaridan tezroq yordamni kutib olishga yoki-da o'zi Kanina Power o'yinchilarini yengib chiqishga bu faytdan Game Lord o'yinchilari kirib kelishdi. Agressiv kirib kelishganligi ularga o'sha qo'shimcha e'tibor tortib qo'yishmoqda o'zligiga. Bu yerda o'sha ARR o'yinchilari aynan o'sha Bekaga yordam deyotgan o'yinchilarim hozir birinchi nok holati, biz nok holatida. Bu albatta juda ham yomon ARR o'yinchilari uchun, chunki umuman boshqa flangdan jamoalar hozir qo'shilib kelishlari mumkin bu faytga yoki-da o'sha ARR jamoasi pozitsiyasiga Robs nok holatida Kanina Power o'yinchisi tomonidan va bu ham Kanina Powerni o'sha birozgina bo'lsa-da aktivroq harakat qilishga chaqiradi. Jamoadoshlar Kanina Powerdan yana o'yinchilar kelib bo'lgan aynan ushbu pozitsiyaga e'tibor bering. Kanina Powerning chap taraf tog'ida Sly Europe o'yinchilari ham bor. Ular ham bu paytga qo'shilib kelishlari mumkin. 3-jamoa sifatida Kanina Powerdan ikkita o'yinchi kamida nok holatidami? Bo'ldi. Kanina Power o'yinchilari pushni yevropaliklarga amalga oshirishdi, lekin bu tezlik bilan tugaganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Slipe Tenchik aynan ushbu faytga qaysi flangdan kirib kelishi mumkinligini qidirdi, lekin topa olgani yo'q. Robs nok holatida ARR o'yinchilari faytga qo'shilib kelishmoqda. Beka uchun ajoyib imkoniyat edi. Qani ko'ramiz, Tenchik va uning jamoadoshlari yana bir bora kirishga harakat qilib ko'rishadimi ushbu faytga yoki yo'q. Shunchaki distansiyadan hozir Reflect va Mandarin bizga ko'rinishmoqda. Game Lord o'yinchilari esa bir-birlarini ko'tarib olishga ulgurishdi. Beka ortiqcha harakat qilib bu faytga qo'shilishga harakat qilgani yo'q. Bu albatta yaxshilikka deb bilamiz. Tapik esa Shockwave o'yinchilar bilan faytni boshlab yuborgan. Nok holati bor, Terminus nok holatida va Shockwave'da Cover ham bor. Coverdagi o'yinchi ortiqcha pik qilishga bermaydi Tapik. Bunga biz ishonamiz. Elementrix esa close fightga bormoqda. Elementrixda bu pozitsiyasi hozir juda ham qaltis bo'lishi mumkin, chunki Coverda o'yinchi bor. Yaxshi, birinchi nok holati ham bor. Ezer nok holatidan turishi bilan qaytadan nok holatiga yana uchratildi. Terminus ham Shockwave'da ikkita o'yinchi qolmoqda oyoqda. Elementrix yana davom etadi. Qirg'oq bo'yi harakat qilishga aynan ushbu fight davomida. Ko'ramiz, mana toshni oldiga kelib oldi Elementrix. Uni nok holatiga keltirish birozgina qiyin bo'ladi, lekin unga qarama-qarshi bo'lgan Elementrix juda ham low HP'larda qolmoqda, lekin ajoyib pik uni hozir qutqarib qolmoqda muqarrar nok holatidan. Va ana endi Shockwave o'yinchilari katta ehtimol bilan to'liqligicha yopilib ketadi. Ushbu faytga Dagestan 77 o'yinchilari ham tortilib kelishlari mumkin. Snowix uni topa olishadimi hozirgi vaziyatda? Pozitsiyasidan tortib olishadimi yoki yo'q? Buni ko'rib bilib olamiz albatta. ARR jamoalari eng muhimi, jamoasi o'yinchilari eng muhimi hozir ortiqcha harakat va xatoga yo'l qo'ymaslik, chunki ularga yaqin Snowix bor. Va Dagestan 77 o'yinchilari ham kursorlarimizda ko'rinishmoqda. Dagestan o'yinchilari uchun hozir ARR shundoqqina panjani ustida turishgandek ko'rinib turishdi. Bu degani qaltis holat bo'lishi ham mumkin. Biz tomonga yaxshi hayish kuchda va yo'q bo'ldi. O'yinchilar yopilib ketishdi top 12 yo'l uchun va 4 ta PTS bilan 4 ta to'g'ri kill point bilan yopilib ketishmoqda. Mana o'sha aytganimdek, Dagestan o'yinchilari birinchi damajlarni berishmoqda ARR o'yinchilariga. Nok holati yo'q, xayriyat va ko'ramiz, kuzatamiz qani vaziyat qay tarzda tus oladi. ARR 3 ta killni o'ziga rasmiylashtirishga ulgurishgan. Va zonamiz bundan oldingi Sanuk kartasiga juda ham o'xshashib ketmoqda. Bundan oldingi kartamizda to'pirni qo'lga kiritgan VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari hali kartamizda unaqa yorqin ko'rinish berishgani yo'q. Mana Shefuni orqasidan Game Lord o'yinchilari birin-ketin mana aktiv harakat qilishni boshlab yuborishdi. Menimcha Xeybiz bu vaziyatda tapikni olib ketishga kelgan. Transportdan yengil dim chiqib turibdi, ya'ni yengil tutmoqda. Va mana o'sha replay qanaqa qilib effektni tushirib olishganligini va tutib olindi. Effekt tushirib olingani ajoyib tarzda Black tomonidan gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Va Major Bright eng kuchli o'sha Major Bright'da faqat oldinga boshlaydigan effekt bu kartamizni jamoasi endi 3 kishi bo'lib harakat qilishadi. Effektsiz albatta. Europe mana o'sha VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari bizni rejissyorlarimiz xuddiki eshitgandek VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilarini tezlik bilan olib berishni ko'rsatishda aynan qaysi pozitsiyani egallab turishdi. Ular gladiator bo'lgan Tigzini shundoqqina tegida turishdi va shuni hisobiga uni ortiqcha harakat qilishga Tigzi bermasligini hammamiz yaxshi bilamiz. Prog zonamizni ham ko'rib olishingiz mumkin. Keyingi prog zona ham birozdan keyin ma'lum bo'ladi. Hozirda umumiy jadvalimizda liderlik qilayotgan Game Lord o'yinchilarida 4 ta kill bor. Va bu ularga yana qo'shimcha umumiy jadvalimizda boost bo'ladi. Keyingi prog zonamiz esa 1, 2, 3 va ma'lum past tomonga hard shift. Dagestan 77, Avalanche, Game Lord, Major Bright, Mad Bulls va G.G o'yinchilari zonaga kirishlari kerak bo'ladi. Shockwave'ni solo o'yinchisi ham xuddi shu jamoalar o'yinchilar qatoriga kiradi. Bootcamp tarafda hech qanday jamoa yo'q. Buni ahamiyat bergan bo'lsanglar kerak. Va mana o'sha aktiv kill chatimiz yana sekin-sekin ko'rinishmoqda o'yinchilar kill chatimizda. Boya aytib o'tgan gladiator Tigzi hozir ayiqlardan bo'lgan VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchisini nok holatiga keltirmoqda. Ko'ramiz, ikkinchi o'yinchi ham nok holatida VIRTUS.PRO. Holati unchalik ham yaxshi emas. 3 ta nok holati VIRTUS.PROda va bizda bu yerda Major Bright va Mad Boss o'yinchilari ham fight boshlanib ketgan. 4 ga 2 yoki 4 ga 3 fight bo'lmoqda bu vaziyatda. Major Brightdan adashmayotgan bo'lsam, bu aynan compoundlarda ikkitadorigina o'yinchi bor. Monkey va Gen qani ko'ramiz nima qila olishadi bu vaziyatda. Flag nok holatida buni Monkey amalga oshirgan. Frozen nok holatida gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Ajoyib hayeshka Monkey tomonidan Tulikani ham yoqib yuborish imkoniyati bor edi. Hozir kapitallar dueli bo'lmoqda. Ikkalovi ham Yumpikda harakat qilmoqda bir-biriga qarshi. Ko'ramiz. Tulika tomoniga ortiqcha harakat qila olmaydi. Yen hozir Frozenni nok holatiga keltirmoqda. Nahotki shunchaki hozir 2 ga 4 hozir himoyalanib olishmoqda. Major Pride jamoasi o'yinchilari sherlar hozir buqalarni yopib yuborishda gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Ajoyib harakat qilishdi Major Pride o'yinchilari. Bu vaziyatda Monkey va endi o'sa bu kartamizda porlashmoqda gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Top 10da bizni VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari yopilib ketishmoqda. Hozir Game Lord portlab ketishligi mumkin edi. Vaqtida tushib qolishdi. Ana endi zonaga harakat qilishlari kerak bo'ladi. Yayo hozir Eshkom harakat qilishlari kerak bo'ladi zonaga. Transportlari yaroqsiz holatda, lekin yoqib yuborishmagan, ya'ni portlatib ham yuborishgan bo'ldi. Umuman endi yaroqsiz holatda va vaziyatdan foydalanib Game Lordda ikkita o'yinchisi zonaga harakat qilishmoqda. Avalanche bilan fight bundan qochib qutulib bo'lmaydi, chunki Elisio mana bu yerda Robs bilan uchrashib qolishgan. Hozir Elisio yordamga, to'g'ri Elisioga yordamga kelishmoqda. Game Lorddan o'yinchi nom holatida umuman boshqa jamoalar amalga oshirishmoqda. Wow, yaxshi debesdan Robs ajoyib tarzda kutib oldi, lekin o'zi ham nok holatiga keltirildi va oxirgi o'yinchi Akashi nima qila oladi? Juda ham low HP larda qolib ketgan. Va o'sha Game Lordning oxirgi imkoniyati, oxirgi o'yinchisi. Ko'ramiz, Kip esa Avalanche o'yinchisini dabit qilib yubormoqda. 2 ga 1 qoldi, juda ham low HP larda. O, yaxshi harakat. 1 ga 1 qolmoqda. DBS ga qarshi Yumpik juda ham low HP. Game Lord o'yinchisiga qarshi Avalanche a'zosi. Ko'ramiz, hit pointlari yarimga teng. Bu vaziyatda ortiqcha hozir Game Lord o'yinchisi tomonga yana damage bor. Qayerga otildi. Avalanche o'yinchilari yopilib ketishmoqda nahotki. Yo'q, Kakashini tutib olmoqda baribir Elisio gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas va o'z jamoasini o'yinda qoldirmoqda. Jamoadoshini ko'tarib olmoqda. Woodsonni Hayeshga uchdi, nok holatiga keltirgani yo'q. Havlik tomonidan hozir otilgan Hayeshga sal qolsa Avalanche o'yinchilarini ham bu kartadagi harakatlarga nuqta yasab qo'yishi mumkin edi. BKRR jamoasi o'yinchisi nok holatida. Ko'ramiz, G.G.ga qarshi fight olib borishmoqda. Bekani umuman boshqa jamoada bit qilib yubordi. Tapik ham xuddi shunaqa nok holatida. IRR jamoasi o'yinchilari yopilib ketishdi. Afsuski, bizda top 8 da tark etishdi bu kartamizni. GG o'yinchilari berishgani yo'q IRR o'yinchilariga ortiqcha harakat qilishga. Tigzi nok holatida uni ko'tarib olish imkoniyati bormi yoki yo'q? Bor, zonada ham joylashtirib adashmayotgan bo'lsam, shuni hisobiga unaqa ortiqcha muammolar tug'dirmaydi. Woodson qani ko'ramiz, Yumpikka qarshi DBS yana bir bora Woodson o'z jamoasini o'yinda qoldiradimi yoki yo'q demoqchi edim. Degunimcha o'yinda qoldira olmasligi ma'lum bo'ldi va Avalanche o'yinchilari bizda top 7 ga yo'l olishmoqda. Yomon emas natijaligi, chunki killlar ham hisobligida bor edi. Excuse me, yaxshi o'ynashmoqda bu kartamizda. Albatta, ular ham yana topga qaytib olishlari kerak, ya'ni top 3 ga, o'zi top 4 da joylashib turishdi hozirda. Bizda GG o'yinchilari mana nihoyat o'yinga qaytishmoqda. Ulardan ham top natijalarini ko'rmayotganimizga ancha bo'ldi va qolamiz natijalar bo'yicha 6 ta killni hisoblariga rasmiylashtirib qo'yishgan. Gladiatorlar excuse me jamoasi, uzr jamoasi esa hisoblarida 4 ta kill bilan zonamizda joylashib turibdi. Qani keyingi zonamiz qaysi jamoaga o'ynaydi? Buni birozdan keyin bilib olamiz. Shockwave'dan Snowix esa jamoasi uchun kerakli bo'lgan pointlarni ishlash uchun hali hamon kartamizda mavjud bo'lib turibdi. Qani ko'ramiz. Top nechigacha yashaydi bu solo o'yinchi. Major Pride'ni duosi uchun o'zi oldida jamoalar kam edi. Shuni hisobiga hattoki zona ham uni uzoqqa qochgani yo'q bu jamoadan. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Ko'ramiz, ishonamiz Major Pride duosi bundan ko'prog'iga qodir. 20 soniyadan keyin zonamiz yurishni boshlaydi. Shuni hisobiga GG o'yinchilari zonaga harakat qilishlari kerak. Ularda transport bilan ham kichik muammo bor. Ortiqcha transport hozirgi vaziyatda menimcha hozirgi prog zonaga kelib hech kimda yo'q. Har tomondan zajimlar va GG o'yinchilari birdaniga 3 tasi nok holatida. Va bu degani GG uchun bu GG. Matik hozir juda ham u HP larda demoqchi edim, lekin nok holatiga keltirildi. Buni Dagestan 77 o'yinchilar o'zlarining hisoblariga kill sifatida rasmiylashtirib qo'ya olishadimi yoki ulardan oldin Yevropadan bo'lgan Sly tinchlik amalga oshiradimi? Tinchlik amalga oshirmoqda, Matikni o'z hisobiga kill sifatida yozib qo'ymoqda. Va endi yolg'iz Kitsun zonadan tashqarida o'zini mopedi bilan harakat qilishga majbur bo'ladi. Aptechkasini tezroq heal qilish kerak. Yo'q. Ulgradimi heal qilishga? Kitsun. Zonadan qolin. Yo'q, zonadan bo'lib qolmayapti. Heal qilishga ulgurmoqda va Kitsunni payqashadimi? Qanchalik tez payqashadi Kitsunni? Zona yurib ketgandan keyin u haqida o'ylashni to'xtatib qo'yishgan va hozir juda ham qaltis harakatni amalga oshirmoqda. Kitsun o'rtadan harakat qildi. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Uni shunchaki esdan chiqarib yuborishdi. Sadira yondi. Buni kim amalga oshirdi? Black. Hozir bu vaziyatda bitta o'yinchini dabit qilib yubordi, ya'ni Limba Boomni. Zatira esa saygada qo'li bilan harakat qilmoqda. Qani ko'ramiz. Beknok holatida Yeshkadan qarshi hujum. Black buni amalga oshirmoqda. Yaxshi, Zatirani dabit ham qilib yubordi. Faqatgina Shifu qolganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Eshikni ochib hozir Shifu Bekni dabit qilib yuborishi mumkin. Dabit ham qilib yubormoqda. Ko'ramiz, yana Hayeshga uchmoqda. Major Pride o'yinchilari yaqinlashib kelishgan ulgurishgan va bu faytga, bu qaynoq faytga Fly Europe o'yinchilari qo'shilib kelishdi. Birinchi nok bor. Black o'zini jamoasini o'yinda qoldirmoqda. Ikkinchi nok beradimi? Juda ham yaqin turibdi ikkinchi nokni berishga. Manki tomonidan hozir Hayeshga hammasini hal qilib qo'ydi. Yopib yuborishi mumkin. Hozir Black bu vaziyatda juda ham yaqin turibdi yopib yuborishga. DBS hozir hammasini hal qilib qo'yishi mumkin Black va uning jamoasi uchun. Ko'ramiz. Black to'rga bir hozir yo'q, to'g'ri 3 ga 1 clutch, chunki bittasini Major Pride o'yinchisi nok holatiga uchratgan edi, lekin Blackda 7 ta kill point bor. Kitsun ham bu paytda kartamizni tark etmoqda top 5 ta, 6 ta kill bilan va lekin mana bu harakat Black tomonidan hammasini excuse me jamoasi uchun hal qilib qo'ydi. Excuse me o'ziga kerakli bo'lgan pointlarni hali hamon ishlashda davom etmoqda va katta ehtimol bilan topni ham qo'lga kiritishlari mumkin. Ularda son jihatidan ko'pchilik bo'ladi. Agar hozir Havlikni ko'tarib ola olishadigan bo'lsa, juda ham low HP larda qolgan jamoadoshlari tomoniga harakat qilayotgan edi va ko'tarib olish ham Slide Europe'dan bu pushni qanaqa push bo'ldi bu? Hozir Snowvix uchun esa bu eng kamida top 4 gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Dagestan 77 o'yinchisi kabi u ham yashamoqda, lekin Snowvix top adashmasam 10 dan beri yashamoqda shekilli. Snowvix yo'q. Mana bo'ldi top 4 bu jamoa o'yinchisi uchun. Kill sifatida esa Shift o'ziga yozib qo'ymoqda. Shiftni esdan chiqarib qo'yganlar bo'lsa, o'zi haqida eslatib qo'ymoqda. Yaxshi harakat qildi Snowvix. Va Dagestan 77 o'yinchisi ham xuddi shunaqa yaxshi harakat qildi. Bek afsuski bu kartamizda yo'q. Va ko'ramiz, buni aynan mana Shift qilgan edi. Bekni dabit qilib yuborgan edi. Bu esa hozir o'yindan pikat qilib o'yinchini holatiga keltirmoqchi, qo'ldan kelmoqda ham Blackni ham low HP larda qoldirmoqda. Mana aktivroq o'yin ko'rsatmoqda Shifu. Ana yo'q, yopib yuborishmoqda. Black yana buni amalga oshirmoqda. 8-kill point va endi mana Monkey va Yen duosi hozir top 1 ni qo'lga kiritmoqchi bu vaziyatda. Havlik tomonga qayerishga yo'q. Bu Furiyani o'tib nok holatiga keltirmoqda. Qani ko'ramiz. 2-2 Yen va Monkey duosi. Monkey yana o'zini jamoasini oldinga olib ikkita o'sha kapitan va qaysidir ma'noda aporniklar dueli bo'lmoqda desa adashmagan bo'lamiz. Agar endi Furiyani ko'tarib olishadigan bo'lsa, bu yana ham o'sha excuse me ga kuch qo'shadi-ku. Lekin qanchalik qo'sharkan buni ko'ramiz. Furiyani ko'tarib olish biroz imkonsiz, chunki zonadan tashqarida joylashib turibdi. Black esa qo'shni kempga o'tishga majbur va hilitsa qilishga majbur. Ulguradimi o'zi hilitsa qilishga? Havlik nok holatida va Major Pride o'yinchilari top 1 ni qo'lga kiritishmoqda. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Bu duo yaxshigina harakat qilishdi. Hammasi Madbolt o'yinchilarini yopib yuborishdan bo'ldi. Mana sizga o'sha Yen va Monkey duosi gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Black va Havlik esa tushunarsiz. Zonada tashqarida qolib ketishda Furiyani ko'tarish umuman kerak emas edi. Oldinga harakat qilish kerak qadar menimcha bilmadim. Aktivroq dimlar tashlash kerak edi menimcha. Lekin nima bo'lsa bo'ldi. Ajoyib o'yinni ko'rdik. Gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Keyingi kartamiz oldidan natijalarni ko'rib olamiz. Sizlar bilan uzoqlashmaymiz. Kichkinagina tanaffus.
That's right, we said at the beginning of the day here, Major Pride is looking to extend a lead, a stranglehold on the lobby, and indeed they are doing so here today. Max, this is Major Pride's got written all over it, even though it was close at the end of this Sandhawk.
Yeah, I mean, Black really did put a spanner in the works. I think.
Spanner in the works?
A spanner in the works. I forgot the word there for a second, but he really did with that DBS, able to get himself some good clutch moments. But crossing that road with Monkey and Yen with that type of angle, and I'm pretty sure, used all the utility they had available at the time for them. You're not going to make that cross happen. That circle shift was a little bit too rough. So yeah, Major Pride, as John was saying at the end there, they are looking to extend that lead as they were already in first place, and 18 points is definitely going to help them achieve that.
A big fan, as we take a look at the numbers coming in, as you say, of the adaptation from the lobby. We've seen this compound in a similar circle, not the first circle, but I mean the way in which this kind of circle folded down into the final circles. We've seen a similar finish to this through our previous phase, and the way teams approached it was very, very different compared to that scenario where teams were playing it a bit meek, a bit slow. However, this time around, everyone understands, Max, if you want to try and make something happen, and if you want to try and dislodge the team that's in that compound, you have to crash when the chaos is going on, and we saw multiple teams do that.
Exactly. We needed to see Slide go for the crash while everything was happening on top of that compound, which at first Dagestan go for the crash, and we were a little bit surprised then Slide's not pushing up. It's a bit weird. They're not going for that one opportunity. They got a bit lucky after because there was another crash coming on through from Major Pride, so they do make the crash happen there. But I mean, as you said, sure, it's Major Pride chicken dinner, but I'm going to say it's an unofficial black chicken dinner because Atalim's there, and with a weapon, I know you love Kalaris, he really popped off on that defense.
It's weird, that. It's as if everyone loves the DBS at the moment, apart from the people that are victims of it. It's it's a pretty good gun at present. And I will say, when you are playing Sandhawk and things like that, for my money, I think that a team should have at least 1 or 2 shotguns available for this battleground. There's so much close quarters action going on. If you're trying to breach these compounds and you're going up against a DBS and you do not have yourself some shotguns, be it an S12K or a DBS or something like that, I think you're walking into no man's land at that point. And Black made that look easy against some of the players he was going up against.
And I really enjoyed too how he was playing with that DBS because it was a very micro-focused play that he did, but he had a smoke inside the building. Was it his smoke or smoke from Slide? That I'm not too sure, but he was just playing on the absolute edge of it to try and just get those easy shots the moment you show yourself. I don't want to talk about this play. I wanted to go for a meme pick. I mean, everyone went with Sly. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for a little bit of a funny pick. I don't think they're going to get the win, but that was not a win-level play for sure.
There was a glorious moment, Max, where I predicted your prediction, though, so...
You did. You know what? That's I mean, we worked together for so long, you could just read me like a book. I have the impression.
Yeah. I do what I can. I do what I can here. And Shifu does what he can as well, Max, because, I mean, given the scenario Dagestan was in, Shifu is a guy that really can come up clutch for a team that's not doing quite well, but I think Shifu stands on his own sometimes as a talent.
He is the standout player from the team very clearly, right? I would love to see, I mean, for example, when we're looking at Major Pride, we said Effect has not been set up really well in Phase 1. Now that is happening. I would like to see a similar thing, I would say, Kalaris, from the side of Dagestan, in the sense that I want to see Shifu be on the front with his team and they just set him up and he's like this top fragger of the team, because we've seen in PMEC what he could do. We saw in previous events what he could also do in previous PMPLs. He is such a star player. I just don't feel like the setup, the synergy is there yet. I think the moment that happens, we see Dagestan fly, but I think this is a team that could potentially compete with the best teams in this lobby, but they're just not there just yet, but there's still time before the finals.
I get what you're saying. There is potential much better with each other here in these lobbies. So with one final game to go here, it's going to be going over once again down to the wire here for our day number 2 for this part of the phase. But before we move on to that, we shall check in with the Royal Pass, check in with some skins and see what they're all about. I like the final moments there because that's what I do. You know, when I'm, you know, playing the game, perusing around, looking about, I just fire up into the air, like that. It's a good time, Max.
I remember that. I play with you, and you do exactly that.
Yes, I do.
Without the skins, though, because you just have the default skins. Oh.
And to be fair, no, I do not have the default skins. I have the, I can't remember what it's called. There's so many skins. There's so many good skins. But the thing is that I also do a lot of bossing you around, bossing Blank around, bossing John around whenever we play together. I'm like, no, this is the rotation we should be taking. And you're like, but James, no. This is where, this is where we're going, okay?
Oh, well, the highway. Yes.
That's right. All right, let's take a look at the overall rankings here so far as well, because we have got now what it should be Major Pride getting themselves a little bit of a lead. It doesn't help them, though. The excuse me was still present, still available, and still alive at the end of these circles. But still, look, now it's not quite as close as we were coming into it today here, Max.
Yeah, cheeky 10-point lead coming out for Major Pride, but still nothing to be too scared about. Excuse me, ARR, Game Lord, all these teams can still very easily be top 1 at the end of this second phase, so not too scared about it. Though Gladiators able to climb up a little bit with those extra points they got from the previous game, and it's really, this top page is full of teams that I would not expect to be up there. Like your Mad Bulls, nowhere to be seen. Your Canina Powers, nowhere to be seen. Demuerte, nowhere to be seen. So you got a lot of teams that, which is so dominant, and now, I mean, we've been bringing this up quite a bit for your Dagestan, your Canina, Demuerte, but they're just not able to leave this second page, it seems, because the top teams and the new teams are up there, really just solidify themselves in that position where it's just so hard to move them away from that first page.
I mean, we're getting slowly to the point, Max, where somebody's going to ask me, are Demuerte a 13th place team, as they're currently in 12th? And I might have to say yes, because it's not looking phenomenal for them at the moment here. Before we get into this last game, so before we do get into this Erangel here, Max, what's your eyes on? What are you thinking here, going into the grassy pastures?
I want to see Mad Bulls do well on the grassy pastures, because they're top team when it comes to Sanhok and when it comes to Erangel, and they've just been struggling to get in late game circles. I do not know what's happening on their side. As we said, a lot of the teams have leveled up around them, so it's a lot rougher for them to actually have an impact like they did in phase 1. But yeah, look at that. Even their stats. I mean, 5.53 over on Erangel. That's a really good average to have. Is like fantastic, but we're just not seeing the Mad Bulls we saw in phase 1, which is unfortunate to see. So I'm hoping it's going to happen here.
Yeah, I was going to describe it as something quite severe, but I'm going to refrain from using severe words about it. But it definitely looks muted compared to what we were seeing from them in phase 1. I'm sure that, you know, again, a team like this can definitely bounce back from that. Some teams do go through these lulls, even in, you know, long-form tournaments like this. But it's better to get that lull out of the way here and now, Max, compared to having that hit, you know, a week or two down the line.
I think we even saw Demuerte have like about 5 elimination average on Erangel, which is, it's a really good average. So yeah, muted, I think it's a nice word to use to describe it. So hopefully they'll click the unmute button, just like Blank. If that happens, you know, it'll be good.
Well, I think the question on everyone's lips right now before we get into this game, Max, is will Blank get some more prediction points on the board? Because right now, it's not looking good.
Barchaga yana bir bor assalomu alaykum. Bugun bizni aynan oxirgi kartamiz bo'lib o'tmoqda. Boshlandi razvedkamizni ko'rdinglar. Yuqori o'ng tarafdan pastga o'rtaga uchib o'tmoqda. Razvedkamiz hozir bu o'yin aynan bu kartamizni o'tkazib yuboradigan jamoalar va Europe, Dagestan va Hindum jamoasi o'yinchilari. VIRTUS.PRO jamoasida hozir bitta nok borligini ko'rmoqdamiz ekranimizdan chap qismida. Bu nok esa aynan shelter tarafda amalga oshirilgan. Demuerte o'yinchisi Discrim Ozoz hisobiga VIRTUS.PRO'ning o'yinchisini yozib qo'ydi. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari esa aynan bu pozitsiyaga juda ham yaxshi yaqin turishdi. Discrim hozir u pozitsiyani tark etishga ulgurdi. Aynan transportda o'z hisobiga yozib qo'ygan bu killni ko'ramiz. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari esa balki qidirishmoqdadir yoki o'z sheriklari tomoniga harakatlarni davom ettirishmoqda. Dorin hamda Kapahala Octavian tomoniga mana yaqinlashib kelishmoqda. Kimini ko'ryapmiz chap tarafda va aynan Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari hozir o'z spotlariga yetib borishadi va o'tlarni davom ettirishadi. Demak, First Blood Demuerte jamoasi tomonidan amalga oshirildi. VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari esa 3 kishi bo'lib qolib ketishdi. VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari Milta spotini loot qilishmoqda edi, adashmasam. Ko'ramiz, endi ularga 3 kishi bo'lib harakatlanish qiyinchilik tug'dirarmi? Juda ham chiroyli o'yinni guvohi bo'ldik. Bundan oldingi kartamizda Major Pride o'yinchilari tomonidan Monkey juda ham ajoyib harakatlarni amalga oshirdi. Aynan mana bu o'yinchilarni Major Pride duosi yopib yubordi deb ayta olishimiz mumkin. Medbulls o'yinchilari esa endi bu o'yinimizda yana ham yaxshiroq harakatlanishga harakat qilishadi. Ko'ramiz. Klassik jamoasi o'yinchilari oldida hozir novый harakatlanmoqda. Striker hozir qo'lida hech qanday qurollari yo'qligini ko'rdik. Yasnaya Polyanani Game Lord jamoasi o'yinchilari loot qilishmoqda. Victor, Akashi, Robs hamda Narvalov Excuse me jamoasi o'yinchilari bizga namoyish etilmoqda. Pastki Qozog'iston, pastki G'GLADIATORSni loot qilishmoqda. Bek, Furia, Black, Havlik. Bu jamoa ham o'z o'yinini sekin-sekinlik bilan topib borayotgan jamoalardan biri. Juda ham yaxshi o'yinchilar bor bu tarkibda. Ko'ramiz, hozir aynan oxirgi kartamizda ular qanday harakat qilishar ekan. Shockwave o'yinchilari ham xuddi shu xususiyatga ega bo'lgan jamoalardan biri. To'liq tarkib bilan harakatlanishmoqda. Severning spotini loot qilmoqda ushbu jamoa. Mana 3 kishi bo'lib qolib ketgan jamoa Milta spotini loot qilishmoqda. VIRTUS.PRO jamoasi o'yinchilari ular polidan ajralib qolishgan. OPS, Purple, Single endi 3 kishi bo'lib kurash olib borishga harakat qilib ko'rishadi. Ko'ramiz. Bu jamoadan qanday bizga esda qolarli vaziyatlar namoyish etilar ekan. Avalanche jamoasi o'yinchilari bir spotdan ikkinchi spotga rotatsiyani amalga oshirishmoqda. Ularning shaxsiy statistikasini, jamoa statistikasini ko'rishingiz mumkin. Ko'ramiz, jamoa ham yomon jamoalar ro'yxatiga kirmaydi. Albatta, juda ham yaxshi jamoa. Bu kartamizda yana qanaqa harakat qilishar ekan. Yana Power o'yinchilari esa Kamishki spotini loot qilib, mana endi navbatdagi pozitsiyani egallash uchun o'z harakatlarini boshlab yuborishdi.
Natijalar bilan qiziqayotganlar uchun har kartamiz davomida umumiy natijalar onlayn natijalar ekranlarimizni tepa qismida ko'rsatib boriladi. Albatta ko'rmoqchi bo'lganlar bemalol o'shadan ko'rib olishsa bo'ladi. Va excuse me o'yinchilari bizga namoyish etilmoqda. O'zlarining spotlari G'GLADIATORSning pastki qismida. Eslatib o'tamiz, bundan oldingi Erangel kartasini excuse me o'yinchilari o'tkazib yuborishgan edi. Shuni hisobiga aynan o'sha kartada Kayina Power o'yinchilari o'sha G'GLADIATORSning pastki qismini loot qilishgan edi. Esingizda bo'lsa, o'sha kartani o'zidayoq buni ta'kidlab o'tgan edim. Kayina Power o'yinchilari bemalol excuse me yo'q kartada hozir harakat qilishmoqda aynan ushbu spotda deb. Va mana o'sha holat hozirgi kartada kuzatilayotgani yo'q. G.GLADIATORS o'yinchilari hozir o'z spotlaridan chiqib o'sha Dvinashkini loot qilishadi bilamiz. Ferrier bilan birgalikda albatta. Va mana hozir sekin asta birinchi o'zlarini default pozitsiyalarga yo'l olishmoqda ko'proq zonalar uchun.
Bu jamoa ham aynan yaxshi harakatlanmoqda, o'z qirralarini ko'rsatmoqda, o'z muxlislari uchun, raqib jamoalar uchun. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari Milta Powers spotini adashmasam qilishmoqda. Zavodlarni Jimmy hozir o'ziga kerak bo'lgan device'larni yig'ish bilan ovora, to'g'ri, zonani xavfsiz hududiga yetib kelgan-u, lekin ularda hozircha vaqt bor, chunki bu zona unchalik ham qiyinchilik tug'dirmaydi. Va mana endi Jimmy zonani xavfsiz hududiga bo'lgan harakatini boshlab oldi.
Umumiy jadvalimizda eslatib o'taman, o'sha birinchi o'rin uchun ikkita baravarga ikkita o'zbek o'yinchisi o'ynaydigan jamoalar kurashmoqda, hattoki o'zaro ham u ham bo'lsa va ARR o'yinchilari to'g'ri uchun bo'lgan fight juda ham qiziq. To'g'ri, Major Pride o'yinchilari ketma-ketiga to'pirlarni olib yotishgan bir paytda ular o'zlariga qismat bo'lsa-da, kichik bo'lsa-da o'sha farqni o'zlariga yutib olish to'g'ri mumkin. Misol 174 point bilan hozir Major Pride top 1da bo'lsa, ikkida 150 nechidir point bilan excuse me, bo'lsam egallab top 3da ARR, top 4da esa Game Lord o'yinchilar.
Hozir ko'z ochib yumguncha G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari Kasik jamoasiga minus keltirishga ulgurishdi. Bu vaziyatda juda ham tezkor, operativna harakat qildi bu jamoa. Kasik jamoasi o'yinchilari esa bir sheriklardan ayrilib qolishdi. Yillar bo'yicha hozir ustunlikni Robs hali hamon egallab turibdi va eng ko'p damage bergan o'yinchilar ro'yxatini ko'rishingiz mumkin. Va mana hozir o'sha live tablitsamizni ko'rishingiz mumkin. Birinchi o'rinda Major Pride, ikkinchi o'rinda aytib o'tganingizdek Excuse Me jamoasi, uchinchi o'rinda ARR jamoasi o'yinchilari. Farq u qadar ham katta emas. Top 4ni egallab turgan jamoagacha top 1 uchun menimcha bitta karta ham qabul qilib qo'yishi mumkin.
Hattoki hozir agar Nexus Gaming, ya'ni top 6da turgan jamoa ham top 1ni qo'lga kiritadigan bo'lsa, ular yaxshigina o'rinlarni ko'tarib olishadi. Jadvalimizda hozir top 1 va top 3 dagi jamoalar o'zaro uchrashib qolishganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Shockwave ham aynan ushbu pozitsiyalarga kirib kelishmoqda. Tapaknok holatida afsuski va bu Shockwave'ni bu harakati ARR jamoasi uchun kutilmagan bo'ldi. Afsuski birinchi o'sha qiyinchilik noklarni ham olib kelib qo'yishmoqda ARR o'yinchilari. Bu tur bo'lishdi bu vaziyatda. Jamoalar orasida qolib ketishganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Bu yerda Beka va Heybis qolib ketdi. Adashib o'tgan bo'lsam, Heybis ham nok holatida, Beka endi o'zi clutch holatida. Ko'ramiz, juda ham qiyin hozir pozitsiyada turibdi. Unga qarshi qayerga otildi? Yo'q. Bu ARR o'yinchilar uchun top 15 va umumiy jadvalda yuqorilashish bo'yicha umuman hech qanaqa imkoniyatlar qolmadi bugungi o'yinlar natijalariga ko'ra. Lekin yomon emas, shuncha harakat qilishdi jamoa o'yinchilari. Adashmayotgan bo'lsam, baribir top 4dan pasayishmaydi. Jabosi.
Shockwave o'yinchilari aynan hozir bu faytga qo'shilishlari mumkin edi-yu, Snovix bu haqida ma'lumotga ega bo'ldi va qaror qabul qilishdi. Bu oxirgi qaror esa bu faytga qo'shilish kerak emasligi bo'lib chiqmoqda. Hozir Ryzen to'g'ri Kasik jamoasi o'yinchilari pozitsiyasiga kirib qolganini ko'rmoqdamiz. Mana o'sha operativ harakat tarzida o'sha strikerni o'z hisobiga yozib olishgani G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari tomonidan. Ryzen hozir juda ham qiyin vaziyatga tushib qolgan. U o'z transportidan ayrilgan bo'lishi mumkin. Kasik jamoasi o'yinchilari esa mana shu mini gitarani egallab turishibdi. Ryzen hozir bu vaziyatda bir amallab pozitsiyadan chiqib ketish kerak. Buning uchun esa uni sherigi Azer unga yordam qo'lini cho'zdi va o'z sherigini olib ketdi. Unicorndan Terminus tarafga ajoyib headshotni ko'rdik. Terminus nok holatida hozircha uni ko'tarishga shoshmayapti, chunki push amalga oshirilishi mumkin Unicorn tarafdan, lekin Unicorn bu ishni qilgani yo'q. Hozir navbatdagi prog zonamizni ko'rishimiz mumkin bo'ladi bir necha soniyalardan keyin. Faqatgina Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari endi zonani xavfsiz hududiga kirib kelishayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Ko'ramiz, navbatdagi prog zonamiz qaysi tarafga o'ynaydi. Hozir Harshiv yuqori tarafga.
va hozir endi ko'pchilik jamoalar zonaga kirishlari kerak bo'ladi. Aynan hozirgi pro uchun zonaga harakatda jamoalar keskin ravishda kamayib ketishligi kutilmoqda. Ob-havoyimiz bizga buni namoyish etmoqda. Kartamizdagi zona ob-havosi. Ahamiyat bering, Nexus Gaming endi mana xavfsiz zonaga kirib olishmoqda. Xavfsizdan mayli, hozir yana zonaga harakat qilishlari kerak bo'ladi. Va mana bizga hozir bu yerda avalanche o'yinchilar namoyish etmoqda. Avalanche o'yinchilari bugun hisobligida bitta to'p bir bor. Bu albatta quvonarli holat. Va bugun umumiy musobaqamiz doirasida, musobaqamiz jadvalida ham hozirgi aynan o'sha outsiderlar top 1 ni qo'lga kiritishmoqda. Ya'ni VIRTUS.PRO, avalanche o'yinchilari top 1 ni qo'lga kiritishi bu albatta ko'zga quvonarli. Faqatgina o'sha top jamoalar IRR, excuse me, aynan ikkinchi fazani aytayapman. IRR, excuse me, GG, Major Pride yoki Game Lord jamoalari top 1 ni qo'lga kiritishmayapti. Balki o'sha sekin-sekin pastdagi jamoalar o'rtasida ham qanaqadir bo'lsa ham o'sha top uchun kurashlar bo'lmoqda. Kartalardagi va hozir bu Major Pride bundan oldingi kartamiz g'oliblari oldidan projektga o'tib ketganligini ko'rishimiz mumkin. VIRTUS.PRO pozitsiyasiga kelib qolishmoqda. Birinchi o'yinchi nok holatida, ikkinchi o'yinchini esa nok holatiga keltirishmoqda-yu, lekin o'ziga ham qarshi hujumni qabul qilib olishmoqda. Yo'q, Dark Project tezlik bilan yopilib ketishmoqda. Birinchi pozitsiyaga borishda o'xshagani yo'q, chunki o'tda Major Pride bor edi. Ikkinchi pozitsiyaga borishda u yerda esa VIRTUS.PRO bor edi. Ayiqlar shunchaki Dark Projectga imkoniyat qoldirishmadi. Endi ko'ramiz, balki sherlarni tishlari o'tar. Ayiqlarni egallab turgan pozitsiyasiga. Ko'ramiz.
Hozir Excuse Me jamoasi o'yinchilari, GG jamoasi o'yinchilari egallab turgan pozitsiyaga juda ham yaqin kelib olishdi va buni sezgan Excuse Me jamoasi bu pozitsiyani darhol bo'shatishdi. Chunki hozir yaxshigina qiyinchilik tug'dirishi mumkin edi GG jamoasi o'yinchilari aynan Excuse Me jamoasi o'yinchilariga qarshi. GG jamoasi o'yinchilarini esa split ajoyib tarzda hozir Matic biroz o'rtaroqqa kirib olgan, qolgan sheriklari esa hali ham zonani biroz chetini egallab turibdi. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilari mana chap tarafni aylanib o'tgan holda zonani xavfsiz hududiga kirishga qaror qabul qilishgan va hozircha bu foyda keltiryapti. Chunki ularga to'sqinlik qilayotgan birorta ham raqib jamoa yo'q. Lekin ular qayergacha aylanib borisharkan buni bilib olamiz bir necha daqiqalardan so'ng. Major Pride o'yinchisi Monkey hozir sal qolsa Blackni nok holatiga keltirib qo'yishi mumkin edi. Muhimi ma'lumot qabul qilib olishda Excuse Me jamoasi o'yinchilari aynan bu pozitsiyada raqib jamoalar borligi haqidan zonamiz yana bir bor qisqarganini ko'rishimiz mumkin va bu pro zonamiz esa GG jamoasi o'yinchilariga juda ham qo'l kelishi mumkin, lekin agar o'zlari xato qilib qo'yishmasa bu top 1 bilan yakunlanishi mumkin aynan o'sha jamoaga nisbatan. Hozir Terminus juda ham uzoq masofada Excuse Me jamoasi o'yinchilarini qiyin ahvolga solib qo'ymoqda. Hozir Excuse Me jamoasi o'yinchilari shu dimlar orqali o'z jonlarini saqlashmoqda. Ular turgan pozitsiya juda ham noqulay pozitsiya, chunki o'sha o'ng tarafda odam biroz orqaroq pozitsiyalardan ularga ko'p e'tibor qaratilishi mumkin va mana o'sha e'tiborlar oqibatida ular barcha mashinalardan ayrilib qolishgan.
Hozir Furiyani ham nok holatiga keltirishga ulgurdi. Birozgina qaltis holatda qolib ketishayotganingizda Excuse Me o'yinchilari damage'lar bor.
Portlashi qolmadi.
Uan portladi. Savqotda hamlikni o'zi ham portlab ketishi mumkin edi. Bek bu yerda jamoadoshlariga qanaqa qilib bo'lsa yordam berish kerak. Jamoadoshlari biroz qiynalroq holatda. Nexus Gaming esa bitta shu holatga o'ziga ham harakatlanishmoqda. Albatta va ko'ramiz keyingi progzon ham esa o'rtalashmoqda. Hech qaysi tomonga hozir ko'rdingizlar. Nok holati ham bo'ldi, gap so'z bo'lishi mumkin emas. Nexus Gaming juda ham qiyin holatda, mana bunaqa bagida nagli harakat qilish shunga olib kelib qo'ymoqda. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilarini
Tashqi jamoasi o'yinchilari ham bu vaziyatda e'tibordan chetda qolishmayapti. Nexus Gaming o'yinchilaridan birini o'z hisoblariga olib qolishdi. Kanina Power o'yinchilari esa o'sha jamoadan yana birini o'z hisoblariga olib qo'ymoqda. DMR jamoasi bilan Avalanche jamoasi o'rtasida kurash olib borilmoqda. Boshqa bir tarafda u faytga esa Game Lord o'yinchilari ham qo'shilishgan va Mad Bulls jamoasidan ham bu yerda ishtirokchilar bor. Hozir DMRT jamoasi o'yinchilari zonani xavfsiz hududiga harakatlanishlari kerak. Ular jamoasi bilan biz xayrlashdik. Ular uchun top 13. Major Pride jamoasi o'yinchilari esa Excuse Me jamoasi o'yinchilaridan birini o'z hisoblariga yozib qo'yishdi. Hozir Game Lord o'yinchilari to'g'ri Mad Bulls egallab turgan pozitsiyaga juda ham yaqinlashib olishmoqda. Narval albatta nok holatida. Hozir Mad Bulls o'yinchilari bu vaziyatda o'z pozitsiyalarini himoya qilishlari kerak bo'ladi.
Mad Bulls hozir himoyada agar xatoga yo'l qo'yishmasa Game Lordda aynan musobaqamizni hozirgi liderlarini bemalol yopib yuborishlari kerak. Ana ko'ramiz vaziyat qay tarzda tugaydi. Narval nok holatida Shockwave bu yerda Nexus Gaming o'yinchilarini yopib yuborishmoqda. Bu top 12 ular uchun Shockwave, lekin ana shu yopib yuborish ketidan o'ziga ham o'sha lobbiga yo'l olishlari mumkin. Ularga har tomondan zajim amalga oshirilmoqda. Transportlar eng kerakli portlamasa bo'ldi. Ularga klassik o'yinchilar yaqinlashmoqda. Qayerga yetib boradigan darajada yaqinlashib olishdi, lekin u yetarli to'g'ri shart emas. Va bizda achinarli xabar Excuse Me jamoasidan bu kartamizni tark etmoqda. Bir donigina kill bilan afsuski. Va ularda ham imkoniyat yo'q endi ko'tarilishga. Musobaqamiz jadvalida Game Lord. Hozir musobaqamiz liderlaridan boya adashib ketdim birozgina. Major Pride bilan adashtirorman. Game Lord bugungi kun oldidan musobaqamiz liderlari edi. Hozirda bo'lsa 4-o'rinda joylashtirgan edi. Umumiy jadvalimizda hattoki 3 ga ham ko'tarilib olishibdi. Viktorning holatida Game Lordda birozgina qiyinchiliklar, Mad Bullsda bir donigina o'yinchining holati uni ham bo'lsa ko'tarib olishmoqda. To'g'ri, endi olishadi ko'tarib. Va ko'ramiz, mana Robs, yashqa Narval tomonidan Zerishni ham holatiga keltirmoqda va dabit ham qilib yuborsa kerak hozir katta ehtimol bilan u amalga oshmoqda. Mad Bulls o'yinchilari bugun o'yinchilarga clutch bo'lish bo'yicha chempion ham bo'lishmoqda. Oldingi kartamizda 2 ga 4 ham yopilib ketishga ulgurishdi. Qani ko'ramiz, Game Lord o'yinchilari yana 2 kishi bo'lib turib, balki Mad Bulls o'yinchilarini ular ham yopib yuborishadi. Ko'ramiz, Narvalov bu ishni birinchi o'yinchi bilan amalga oshira oldi. Flagning pozitsiyasi unga juda ham kutilmagan bo'ldi va ana endi ko'ramiz, Robs nima qila oladi. O'zini DPS bilan yo'q, bu imkoniyati yo'q. Ikkinchi marotaba u xatoni yo'lga qo'yishmadi, lekin Zdachisiga Tulika Flagni holatiga keltirib qo'ymoqda. Base своих, чтобы боялись другими. Ana o'sha tomoni bor. Tushunganlar tushunda. VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilari hozir bu yerda o'zlarini o'sha egallab turgan pozitsiyalardan chiqishda birinchi o'yinchini yo'qotishdi. Qani ko'ramiz, keyingi pozitsiyani yaxshilab o'zligiga, o'z qamrovligiga olisha oladimi yoki yo'q. Bu vaziyat birozgina vaqt o'tgandan keyin ko'rib olamiz. Jamoalar xuddi ularga o'xshab rotatsiya, ya'ni pozitsiyalarni o'zgartirib olishga harakat qilishayotgandek ko'rinadi bu. Ko'ramiz, mayli, mana single va off face. Birinchi o'yinchining holatida, ikkinchi o'yinchi haqida ham ma'lumot bor. Mad Bullsdan Tulika Molotov otmoqda. Unga ham damage bor, orqadan yo'l Michi bu ishni amalga oshirmoqda. Mad Bulls o'yinchilari hozir bu holatiga keltirilmoqda.
Hozir single tomonidan uloqtirilgan qayerishga foydali bo'lishi mumkin edi. Bu payt ichida esa GG jamoasi o'yinchilari katta sahnaga chiqishmoqda. VIRTUS.PRO o'yinchilarini esa Mad Bulls jamoasi o'yinchisi Flag lobbiga jo'natib qo'ymoqda. GG jamoasi o'yinchilari juda ham aktiv harakatlanayotganini ko'rishimiz mumkin. O'z hisoblariga to'liq tarkib bilan 5 ta kill point yozib qo'yishdi, lekin killlari bo'yicha peshqadamlik hozircha Major Pride o'yinchilari tomonidan egallanib turilibdi. Ular hisobida 6 ta kill bor. Mad Bullsda 7 ta kill bor ekan. Ular biroz kamlik bo'lgan hisobiga biroz pastga tushib qolishgan.
Umumiy jadvalda shundoq ham birinchi o'rinda ketayotgan Major Pride jamoasi hozir muddatdan avval menimcha top birnozlarga garantiya qilib qo'yishmoqchi. Menimcha Major Pride o'yinchilari bu kartada ham katta ehtimol bilan top birni qo'liga kiritishlari mumkin, lekin bu PUBG Mobile va PUBG Mobile'da har bir narsa bo'lishi mumkin karta davomida va mana xuddi shu vaziyat nima istisno emas. Ya'ni hatta hozir o'ylovmadingiz, hozir kelib hozir Mekko yo'l o'yinchini holatiga tushadi va dabit qilib yuboradi.
O'ylovdimmi?
O'ylovmadingiz. Unda demak random emas. yo'l o'yinchilari hozir bitta o'yinchini yo'qotishdi. Ikkita kill hisobligida bor. G.G o'yinchilari esa harakat qilishmoqda, lekin biz ham o'z jamoadoshi uchun qisman bo'lsa-da, qisman 80% ga o'z anaqasini oldi, qasosini oldi, 20% qolib ketdi baribir. Rashlasi bor.
Hozir navbatdagi zonamizdan keyin Major Pride o'yinchilari shu bliznashka kemplarni egallab turishdi. Bu esa zonaning ichida. Aynan bu pozitsiyaga juda ham yaqin harakatlanayotgan Mad Bulls o'yinchilari bor. Hozir xohlaymiz ham yo'qmi, balki Mad Bulls o'yinchilari aynan shu pozitsiyaga qiziqish bildirib, Major Pride jamoasi tomoniga agressiv harakatlanishi mumkin. Bu vaziyatdan esa Major Pride jamoasi o'yinchilari qay tariqa chiqib ketishadi. Ko'ramiz. Albatta to'liq tarkib bilan harakatlanishmoqda. Mad Bulls jamoasi o'yinchilari esa 2 kishi bo'lib qolishgan. Hozir aynan bu zonamizga nisbatan G.G jamoasi o'yinchilarining pozitsiyasini men e'tiborga olgan bo'lardim. Men hozir Demoerte jamoasi o'yinchisini so'nggi o'yinchisini lobbiga jo'natib qo'ydi. Demoerte uchun esa bu to'p 7.
Aslida shu o'rinda savol, mana hozirgi zonamiz ma'lum. Qaysi jamoani top 1ni qo'lga kirita olmaydi deb o'ylaysiz?
Major Pride
qo'lga kirita olmaydi deb o'ylaysiz. Ana. Bo'ldi, ko'ramiz.
Ko'ramiz.
Siz boshqa savol kutdingiz menimcha.
Yo'q. Men hozir biroz o'ylab ham ko'rdim. Bu savol rostdan ham qiziqarli savol bo'ldi. Chunki mana hozir o'sha top 1 uchun harakat bekorga amalga oshirilmayapti. Major Pride avvalo atroflarni tozalab olishmoqda. Bu juda ham yaxshi. Ya'ni shu top 1 koeffitsiyentini ko'taradi. Hozir mana endi sal bemalol harakat qilish mumkin. Top 1 ga hozir meni shu fikrimdan keyin koeffitsiyent ko'tarildi Major Pride'da va bunga G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari ham yordamlashib yuborishmoqda. Yuvol jamoasi o'yinchisi bizning holatda hozir necha albatta daraxtning orqasida-yu, lekin baribir o'qlarga tutildi TXZ tomonidan va biz Yuvol jamoasi o'yinchilari bilan top 4da xayrlashib ko'z ochib yumguncha top 3 o'ynalmoqda.
G.G va Major Pride o'yinchilari top 1 uchun kurashadigan bo'ldi menimcha. Bu vaziyatda boshqa menimcha rasklad ko'rmayapman. Karina Power o'yinchilari bu paytga qo'shilib kelishmasligi kerak. Prosta buzib qo'ymaslik uchun bu holatda va ko'ramiz mana Karina Power, G.G va Major Pride top 3talik jamoalar bu kartamiz uchun dahshat. G.G da bitta o'yinchi nok holatida demlari otilgan. Klassik split ushlab turishdi G.G o'yinchilari. Xotirjam bitta o'yinchi nok holatida bo'lishiga qaramasdan ham mana o'sha shoshilishni tutib olishdi va nomi nok holatida qarshi hujumga o'tib bo'lgandan keyin bemalol endi jamoadoshini ko'tarib olish mumkin bo'ladi. Yen shoshish kerak emas. Hisobida 10 ta kill bor jamoasini bu unaqa katta muammo tug'dirmaydi. Aynan o'sha 10 ta kill bilan top 2 bo'lib qoladimi, top 3 bo'lib qoladimi? Bu jamoa uchun yetarli PTS'lar bor bu kartamiz hisobidan. Shuning uchun shoshilish kerak emas. Uni tepasida juda ham tajribali bo'lgan G.G o'yinchilari joylashib turishdi. Chap tomonda esa streloklarga boy Karina Power o'yinchilari ham bor. Shuni hisobiga shoshilish kerak emas dedim. Birdonigina Nomining xatosi mana hozir Mankeyni ham nok holatiga tushishiga, o'zini esa dabit bo'lishiga olib kelib qo'ymoqda. Major Pride esa endi yana o'z an'analariga muvofiq holatda duvoq bo'lib qolishmoqda.
Hozir albatta Mankeyni ko'tarib olish imkoni yo'q. Mankey hali dabit qilishganicha yo'q G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari. Hozir bu vaziyatda Major Pride o'yinchilari top 1 ni qo'lga kiritsa kerak deb o'ylab ham qolgan edim, lekin albatta ular tomonidan xato amalga oshirildi va bu xatodan G.G jamoasi o'yinchilari juda ham unumli foydalanishdi. Karina Power o'yinchisi nok holatida TXZ tomonidan Pachi nok holatiga keltirildi. Albatta, uzoq distansiya va hozir TXZga mana bu Piluchini chiqishi sovg'a bo'lishi mumkin edi, lekin TXZ hushyorligini yo'qotmadi. O'z hisobiga albatta Piluchini yozib qo'yadi. Major Pride o'yinchilari esa G.G jamoasi bilan o'xshamagan narsani Karina Power jamoasi bilan o'xshatishmoqda. Va mana bu foyda keltirishi mumkin.
Major Pride hozir top 1ni qo'lga kirishlari mumkin. 2-2 fight davom etmoqda. Qani ko'ramiz kimni? Yo'q, 2-2 fight emas edi, bu 3-2 edi. Va G.G o'yinchilari top 1ni qo'lga kirishmoqda. Biz ularni tabriklab qolamiz. Bundan to'g'ri bugungi kun hisobidan oxirgi kartamiz gladiatorlar hisobiga bo'lmoqda. Mana siz ularni ko'rmoqdasiz. TXZ, Mekkum, Matic va Kitsun. Ularni tabriklab qolamiz. O'ylaymizki, umumiy natijalarimizga ko'ra ular albatta tepalashishdi. Bugun yaxshi o'yinlarni ko'rsatishdi. va ertaga ikkinchi fazamizning oxirgi kuni ertaga bizni mehmonlarimiz ham bo'ladi. Albatta buni ham unutish kerak emas. Va hushyor bo'ling, ertangi kunimizni o'tkazib yubormang. Bizdan uzoqlashmasliginglarni so'rab qolgan bo'lardik. Albatta bitta like sizdan streamga podpiska bo'lib qo'yishingiz albatta shart bo'ladi. Sizga o'shanda uydamaylik keladi, ya'ni o'sha telefoningizga kelib turadi. Ertangi stream boshlanganda bizdan uzoqlashmaysiz. Hozir umumiy natijalar chiqadi. Ko'rib olamiz. Sekin tugatsa bo'ladi. Nima deysiz?
Albatta juda ham qiziq o'yinlarni guvohi bo'ldik. Hozir men siz gapingizdan keyin menda savol tug'ildi. Mehmonlar deganingizda kim?
Crazy Fox janoblarni biz ko'rishimiz mumkin bo'ladi.
That's right. It's an important one for them to be able to bump on the
umumiy
way
natijalarni
back up.
qolamiz.
Also show their strength.
Va
Be able to flex those muscles a little bit here. Gladiators with the victory. And of course, if you're able to get a victory on the board, we'll give you a cheeky monster energy as well for those troubles. So good job, gaming Gladiators. You've got yourself this monster on the board. Awesome stuff by them. Thank you for Monster joining us here for PMPL. Max, we have got ourselves a strong win from them from this high ground position.
More specifically, I loved the timing from Gladiators because you knew they didn't want to really leave that high ground position. They wanted to hold on to it as much as they could. Matic did the Matic special, which is going clearly too far, but luckily enough, he did get rezzed up. He did make it back into the smoke for the res, but they just waited after that for Major Pride to fight versus Kanina Power, and they knew the instant that fight broke out, full send it, you got 4 players alive, there's no way you're going to lose it against 2 players of Major Pride remaining. The timing was perfect, and that's what we want to see and expect from Gladiators in games like this.
That being said, though, you look at it, number 1, 2, 3 with the points earned from this game. It's names that we're very much expecting to be taking those top positions here. Gladiators, Major Pride, Mad Bulls, a lot of strength coming out here, Max.
Yeah, a lot of eliminations from Mad Bulls. I mean, that's what we've been expecting this second phase so far. They just don't get a lot of placement points, only 2. But still, no decent points for them to hopefully climb up the rankings just a bit more. And as we go a little bit lower down, excuse me, there's been very up and down tendencies. They get these big chicken dinners and sometimes they follow it up with like just a non-existent game. So this is pretty much standard for them from what we've seen so far, just those up and down tendencies. But yeah, as you said, 3 big names at the top, and Major Pride, with the points they got here, still able to lengthen that lead just a bit more. So they're looking super comfortable in that top position.
Let's check in with the match report then for this game and see how things have gone overall. As we do have up at the top, Meku. Oh, 1,010 damage coming in for the eliminations he was able to accrue. And then you've got Kazakh of Kazakh. There he is. Finally, I was wanting to see his face, you know, after being the name of the team, playing on the team, doing all the things, Max. There he is.
Yeah, I think in another life he had a beard and he was actually the logo example for his team. So maybe he looked like that just a year ago or something. But
maybe
they got 4 easy limbs on the side of Shockwave. Poor guy, he's just smoked up. A few nades came through and he just sprayed them down with a DP. Not going to go too well. But here you go, looking at the stats, almost 3k damage from the Gladiators. And I really enjoyed the fact that Kitsune held on to Everest for as long as he did, because they pretty much going into the last circle, they knew where Kanina Power were, they knew where Major Pride were, they knew where Kazakh team were, they knew where every single team were positioned, while really struggling to get information if they were all in that compound. So Kitsune, maybe some people might say he held on to that Everest position for too long. I feel like it was the great timing because he just has all the info he needs to get in that circle and have as much info as possible.
Yeah, and you kind of need to hold it for a little while, because if you go slightly down Everest from there, there's too much tree coverage to really get good lines of sight on, say, for example, where Kanina Power might be, especially where Major Pride was. So you need to have quite a lofty position from there. So that's how it's going to go. Let's take a look at the overall day then and see who was able to take those top spots throughout it. And to start things off, we had some, I guess, not exactly upsets, but surprises. Avalanche and VIRTUS.PRO got themselves wins on the board here, and then beyond that we go to the big dogs here throughout the day, who were able to rack up even more points.
Yeah, but as we stated for the Avalanche and VIRTUS.PRO, when these are the games, you might be looking back now as we end phase 3 and saying, okay, these were the 2 matches that allowed Avalanche and VIRTUS.PRO to qualify for the finals. So I think these are going to be very important matches for these teams. Of course, they need to back it up with more results, right? I think that just one good game is not enough, but this is going to initiate something. Hopefully they can kick off some good results after this, and it's just going to give them that little bit of momentum that they've been lacking so far.
And regarding what we're talking about next, Max, we've been racking our brains here in terms of Who's the MVP for today? Now, I think both of our minds went to Black initially because of the amount he was able to do on Sandhawk, but have you steered away from that, or what were your thoughts?
Still on Black. I think there would be Black. Maybe a player from also Gladiators after this, like Meku could be a good one, but that pop-off game was just too good from Black.
We'll see how it goes. All money on Black. Who's it going to be? And it will be with 2,200 damage coming in, 14 limbs across the day. So very well done by him. That DBS, man, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that DBS master of the day, Black. I mean, that big pop-off defense from that breach. I think that most of the replays from Black we're going to be having is actually going to be that one breach on Sanox. So we'll see how that's going to be panning out. But yeah, no, Slide tried to get involved, but all pushing through that one door. You're asking to get shut down by DBS by doing so, and unfortunately Slide learned that one the hard way.
Wait, did he have his 4 times on the DBS just then inside?
It's got big range, you know what? Why not?
I love it. I love it. That's definitely one way to play it, because you need that 4 times inside these buildings. You know, these buildings are really big, man. But yeah, so, I mean, even when we're looking beyond the DBS plays, though, you're seeing with the M4 kind of those sprays that he's able to do on moving targets very rapidly against where his position is. And I think Black fully deserved here, Max.
Yeah, 100% agreed on that one. So yeah, I mean, it's cool to see some pop-off performances from individual players like that every once in a while, but yeah, I still want to see a big team pop-off every once in a while. It's good. No MVP of the day, that's great, but I want to see if they can keep it up for other days.
All right, overalls then, let's see how much of a lead Major Pride has at number 1, because it's quite sizable. We said it at the beginning of the day, the consistency is now coming to fruition here for Major Pride, and compared to being 1 point between first, second, and third, we have now changed the game, Max.
And I think we're in agreement, Kalaris, that now Major Pride, they got that ball rolling. They're just looking so much better compared to what we saw in Phase 1. They got that team synergy. We're seeing so many setups for the side of Effect. And actually, Nomi, that I think you stated earlier, that is actually top fragger above Effect, which is really surprising. But so, yeah, Nomi Effect been on absolute clinic so far in the second phase. And it doesn't seem forced. I don't think they're going to slow down anytime soon. So I expect them to retain this first place tomorrow and be the top team of Phase 2.
And a slowdown, hopefully, for Gladiators will be not on the cards, because they're 5th, and with one good game, they could easily jump up to 2nd place. So that would be a lot of points extra on the board, moving through from phase to phase, etc., as we move on down. Unfortunately, for some of the teams towards the bottom, it's not looking easy. Duarte still 12th, not 13th, not a 13th place team. Oh, thank God. Yeah, we'll see if the fortunes of these teams towards the bottom, Max, can change.
I still haven't seen my Dark product step up. I said it at the start of the day on the pre-show that I wanted to see after their chicken dinner on day 4, if they could have themselves a little bit of continuity, like kind of a chapter 2 after that chicken dinner, but it's just not meant to be. So yeah, I'm maybe tomorrow, but it's just not looking great so far.
All right, let's tally up the predictions from the past 2 days here and see what's gone on. Before this game, Mr. Blank had 1 point. And now he's on 4. Good job, Blank. Well done. We knew you had it in you. What do you think, Max?
He's unstoppable. Look at this guy.
He is. Yeah.
He's got the algorithm and the inny, miny, mo he did. Worked out wonders. So do that again all the time.
He looks so in thought in this picture, but apparently there's no thoughts going on there at all. I'm just joking. It looks like Max and John, very even Stevens at the moment. Again, quite surprising here, considering, you know, you're the smart one and John's John.
Yeah, I don't know how to jump on that one. He can do math, you know what?
I'm defending you.
Yes, but why I was so surprised. I was like, that doesn't happen. This is so weird. But
you're used to other desk hosts.
Yeah, exactly. I got 2 points on the day, so I was the worst, actually. Oh, I'm behind Blank on today. Okay, I ignore what I just said. No, it was
what happened today?
Day. No, don't look at my predictions.
Oh, no.
No. Yeah, not too good. Okay, moving on. Not good prediction day for me.
God, that's horrific. Anyway, we have...
You had the same yesterday. What do you mean?
Never mind. We've got ourselves socials, so make sure you head on over to those. Screenshot, hopefully without Max pulling a stupid face. Or no, he's pulling
I did it already.
Oh, he's closer than he was last time. That's awful. So make sure to head on over. Use the hashtag PMPL EU as well. And we have giveaways rolling on down that hill. And that hill is the hands of Maxman as they roll on from his hands.
Yes.
Are you giving these away?
Yeah, these hands cannot only like my own posts, they can also pick the giveaway winner, which is a great thing to do. So yeah, if you go check out PUBG Esports EU over on Instagram and you go check out the pinned post, you put in the comments which player you think is going to be the MVP at the end of this PMPL season, and you will be automatically entered to try and win one of those cool 3 skins.
Many skills Maxman's hands have. Giving away things, only getting 2 points on the day. Rough stuff, rough stuff. But you guys as well, the PMPL action does not stop here. We've got Turkey ongoing as well. Make sure to tune into those games so you can get even more PUBG Mobile esports goodness. And we are done for today. We're back same time, same place tomorrow for the final, the conclusion of Phase 2. And of course, we've got more weeks to come here for PMPL EU. But tune in tomorrow for more PUBG Mobile action. See you soon.